Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Nerd Eye Council.
Happy Force Friday, everybody!
Force Friday! Woo!
I forced myself to stay home from work today. I tried to use the Force today to make the toys appear in my house. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Ralph told me that's not how the Force works. That's not how the Force works. So the crew is back. We got the OG crew finally.
Council's back in session.
We just had to murder a few people.
I had to go into hiding for a month. But we back.
We're back, yes. So obviously, if you're out of the loop, today begins, Force Friday. It goes throughout the weekend.
The official kickoff of merchandising for Star
The
Wars.
merchandise season, basically.
Yes.
They released a lot of new products and stuff, so obviously we're going to talk a little bit about the toys, and then we're going to transition into more Star Wars Episode 8 related information, some of it from the toy reveals and stuff like that. We had one of our crack reporters out and about, checking out, scouting the toys and everything.
We had a man on the scene today.
I went to the wrong toy store. I thought adults' toy store was adult collectors.
So we'll get his perspective on the toys, what information we can get off of the toys, and various other information regarding the Star Wars universe, the Obi-Wan movie, any thoughts on the Han Solo movie, so on, and etc., etc. So
I can't get enough Star Wars right now. I can't.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be non-stop Star Wars stuff between now and when Episode 8 comes out on December 15th.
Yeah, I'm getting the fever. I'm feeling the fever.
That's cat sweats fever. I heard about that.
Yeah.
First of all, we'll talk about the toys, but first of all, let's talk about that Luke fucking Skywalker picture that they released yesterday.
Right.
From some Hungarian magazine?
Yes, it was a Hungarian magazine that... It was a cover, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. The cover on the magazine showed Luke...
Badass!
Yeah, pretty much badass. Kind of a semi-serious, almost kind of a menacing look on his face.
He looks
all
pissed.
in black, all in dark.
I told you not to bring that lightsaber back! He looks pissed, and he's in all black, pretty much. Kind of looks to me like battle gear. I mean, it's not armor, but it just looks like he's wearing some shit it almost looks like elements. Weather elements, kind of like...
like a weather gear and stuff like that.
I don't know if it has to do with maybe what planet they're going to or whatever, but he's in all black, he looks pissed, and I guess the translation of that Hungarian title was, not revenge, because Jedi don't seek revenge, but, what the hell was Luke... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, Luke fights back.
Retaliates.
It was Luke retaliates.
Yeah. Looks pretty good.
Forcegasm.
That's not how the Force works.
We're talking about it a little bit, Nate and I today, and man, it appears that he's not the Jedi that he was after Episode 6. There's definitely been a change of perspective. We're all kind of speculating. There's a lot of talk about the gray Jedi belief system or whatever.
Right.
We don't know. That maybe he has maybe there is a point where he crosses over to the dark side. Maybe not. Maybe it's just more like what the Jedi Order was flawed for whatever reason that I hope we find out. And Luke has gone away from that and has begun to embrace other elements of the Force, maybe including the dark side. So we were talking about that today, like, that's gotta mean some fucking badass force powers. And we've been hinted at that by Lucasfilm, that there will be new force powers.
Yeah.
And who, other than maybe Snoke, who else would be wielding new force powers? Luke or Snoke?
Kylo. Maybe.
Or maybe Kylo.
Or maybe even Rey.
Maybe even Rey, right.
But I want to see some fucking force lightning. I do. I want to see Luke using force lightning and Rey like, what the fuck? I thought we were supposed to do that. We're making up new rules, sugar.
I think he's just gonna go all balls out and just fucking destroy and just have powers that are just crazy.
I'm telling you, I mean, we could sit here and speculate. This is all open for speculation today, the podcast. But we can sit here and speculate about a lot of shit. But I'm telling you, if you want to get people's attention, there should be a scene where he fucking pulls a starfighter out of the sky.
That's what I'm saying.
Like they did in Force Unleashed. Mm-hmm. If anyone remembers that game and the first time you ever played it and you saw fucking Starkiller pull down a TIE fighter, I remember I was like, oh shit!
Was it a TIE fighter or was it a Star Destroyer?
I don't know if he eventually does that too, but I remember a scene where...
There's one where he's pulling down a Star Destroyer.
There's one scene I remember vividly where a TIE fighter is flying overhead and he just fucking... And I think you could wield that power, like when you were on the battlefield with him. Yeah. If you, like, aimed your force powers at the TIE fighter, you could just fucking, like, crumple it and throw it to the ground.
That's pretty badass power. I'm sorry.
I want to see Luke do that. I want to see fucking somebody coming at Luke and he just stands there and goes, BLAM! Right to the ground. Like, not even sweating it. That would be like, yes!
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, so, I guess this is a good opportunity to kind of lead into what you heard about, so long as we're talking about force powers. There's some stuff about Snoke, there's some stuff about, some stuff that our reporter saw today out and about from the toys that we're going to speculate upon, but let's talk about what Nate heard about Snoke.
Right, so they released a, they released a Snoke toy, along with everything else, that he had on his left hand a large ring.
Oh,
now,
he's left-handed. I knew
left.
That. He's a fucking weirdo.
He's a weirdo.
He's a fucking weirdo.
He jumps off with his right and wings people with his left. He's a fucking weirdo.
It has been revealed that his ring contains a large black kyber crystal.
I know, I started laughing.
I saw it too. It's a large black kyber crystal. I'm sorry.
Now you see where I get my powers from. You porn.
You porn.
He pulls out a black dildo. Here's my powers.
Here's my powers, motherfucker.
Looks just like, are you kidding me?
But this black kyber crystal.
Maybe this is just an inside joke.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, I think it's Kathleen Kennedy's like, what if we make it a black kyber crystal? That's so fucking funny. She's on set giggling every time somebody says it. Anyway, sorry.
I want to hear more about this big black kyber crystal.
Me too.
I love big black kyber crystals.
Black kyber crystals matter.
Right. That should be on a t-shirt. You can make a lot of money with that.
This ring
allows Snoke... If we ever make a t-shirt, we're putting that on a t-shirt. Go
right.
ahead, Nate, sorry.
Right. This ring allows Snoke to channel massive amounts of force through it.
I've heard some talk about the dark saber, and it makes me...
Well, yeah. When I heard a black kyber crystal, I was like, oh shit!
I'm sorry. Ralph can't do it, dude. He can't do it. He's over here dying.
I heard that.
A black
I thought
kyber crystal ring.
I was thinking dark saber too. when I heard that. I was like, oh shit, is he gonna have a dark saber? But no, he has no lightsaber whatsoever
In the toy.
in the toy. So he's got no lightsaber at all. So, some
Unless
more
it's hidden under his robe.
That'd be a white Kylo Quist.
But some more stuff about Snoke to supplement why he doesn't have a lightsaber. He doesn't have a need for a lightsaber. Apparently, Snoke has the ability to blow up planets with just his mind.
Oh.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and they use the words Titanic mind.
So what? So hang on, pause. Then why did they create Starkiller Base? Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of just popped in my head. Like, wait, if he could do that with his mind, why did you go through the fucking hassle of
Building a
Well,
dredging out an entire planet?
Well, I guess another thing that I found out about Snoke, which is probably old news to everybody else, but I guess he loves wealth, like massive amounts of wealth and power. So a lot of this stuff is just a grand showing of how much wealth he has, to basically extensions of his ego.
That could be a big clue about his background. Why is he obsessed with wealth? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It almost seems like that's hinting at something.
Right. So, and to give you a
We know
perspective,
Palpatine's parents were very rich.
true, but to give you a perspective of the power level of Snoke, he makes Palpatine look like a youngling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in series of just sheer power.
Huh.
He just makes Palpatine just look like nothing.
Does that even imply kind of like what we were speculating, that it's going to take maybe all three of them to defeat?
I'm thinking that's what it's going to be. Is that Luke is going to figure out a way to bring Kylo back into the light. Rey will probably kind of turn, or she'll resist enough, and then all three of them together will fight Snoke, and probably one of the greatest lightsaber battles that Star Wars has ever seen.
Fuck yeah.
Luke dies. That's how Luke dies.
Luke dies in Episode 9, maybe?
Yeah.
In the big battle. It's almost kind of reminiscent, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. The Mortis trilogy from Clone Wars. You ever hear of it? Mortis?
Mm-hmm.
I see your brother. It's your fucking brother who loves Clone Wars.
Yeah, Joe's all into that.
We were working one day, he was telling me about this and that from the Clone Wars, and the only thing that really kind of caught my attention was he was telling me about this one episode called the Mortis trilogy, or maybe it was 3 episodes. But I watched like one episode. I went and watched it on YouTube back when you could watch it for free. Now you can't. And it was really interesting, man, because I've watched some Clone Wars because my son was into it, and I didn't really get into it. But this one was interesting, and that's all canon.
Yeah.
So basically, this one episode that I watched was they went to this planet for some reason, Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka, and on this planet there was like no one there except these 3 figures. And they weren't people. They were actually like
silhouettes,
figures of the Force. And this is how it worked. Like there was a father and there was a son and a daughter. And the son was like total dark side, and the daughter was total light side. And the father was like gray. He was like in between, and he was like the king of this planet or whatever. He was almighty, all powerful. And they went to this planet, and some shit goes wrong or something. And like these figures, like they can talk to him and stuff. And something goes wrong, and Anakin like steps in, and like the father says to him, he basically like hints at, you're the chosen one, and Anakin like shrugs it off, like, yeah, I mean, they've been saying that, but nobody really knows, blah blah blah. And then the son, who is obviously dark side, he ends up killing his sister. He kills the light side Force user.
Good for him.
And the father is just like fucking heartbroken or whatever. And Anakin steps in and I don't know if he kills the son or if he just like puts him out of commission or whatever. But then at the end of the episode, the father is like, see, the prophecy is true. It is true. You're the chosen one. And they basically they like end the episode with Anakin going, yeah, I don't know. And that's all canon. And I don't know, we're sitting here talking about like the light, the dark, the gray. And I'm wondering like, are they going to touch upon the Mortis trilogy? I've actually heard a few people talking about this.
I think they should.
You know how they're kind of like pulling from things and, you know, cherry picking and twisting it a little bit. You know, is that the route they're going with the light, the dark, you know, Rey and Kylo? And then
Luke is the gray.
Gray, or even Snoke and Luke are the gray. Maybe.
I think it'd be Luke.
I think so too, but we still don't know much about Snoke. I mean, Snoke's something different. We don't know what he is. He's not a Sith. And he's very powerful from what we keep hearing, you know, the more information gets out. But yeah, that might be...
So you think that maybe when they were reading Anakin as a kid that they were looking into his grandchildren as...
I don't know how much of the podcast you listened to last week because we really went way overboard. We'll try not to do 2.5 hours today, but we were talking about this a little bit. That what was your question a second ago? Anakin, what?
This, when they were reading into Anakin as a chosen one, were they reading into his grandkids?
So this is one thing I brought up during last week's podcast. What if we find out, you know, it seems weird if they don't even fucking mention Palpatine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it would be weird if the trilogy ends and they don't even talk about the Emperor. I think that would be weird. I mean, I would get over it, but that would be weird.
Right.
So you have to think he's going to come up again, at least in mention. So I was saying last week, like, what if Palpatine is like a key part of everything? What if Palpatine made the prophecy?
Like, just made it up?
Yeah. And maybe that's like what led the Jedi so far fucking astray, because they kept like, the prophecy. And like maybe...
But did they do a reading on him though?
Well, they did. Well, yeah, he had midichlorians off the charts.
Yeah, that's what...
But that we still don't know what the prophecy says. We still don't know for
that
sure.
He balance the Force.
Whoever, yeah. Well, all we know is that there will be a chosen one that brings balance to the Force. But I was saying last week, like, what if, you know, Palpatine was behind the scenes doing a lot of different shit. And as far back as we can trace it, we were talking about this, is episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, like, when's the first time you see him? Did you know that dude that plays is the Emperor in every movie?
No, he's not really.
For real.
Like from the 70s?
The original trilogy? That's the same dude.
No shit.
Yeah, I was talking about it on the podcast, like, yeah, it's really weird. And I remember the first time I saw Phantom Menace, first time I saw that guy thinking, he looks familiar. But he looked totally different, you know, different gear and whatever.
Damn,
so
he must be old as shit then.
He's pretty old, but he was fairly young when he did the Emperor, which is all makeup.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
But yeah, what if fucking Palpatine's behind we went into it a little bit deeper, like, Palpatine might be involved in Anakin being created. What were we talking about? What if Snoke being his brother?
Palpatine?
Anakin's brother. What if Palpatine or Plagueis, it works either way, created Anakin and Snoke?
Like twins?
Yeah.
Fallen twins.
And Palpatine, maybe the scars that he's got, maybe that was like, if this is any true, I don't know. We're just speculating, but maybe the scars came from Palpatine. Like Palpatine had to like face him and defeat him, and maybe he thought he killed him, but he didn't die. So he went out to the outer regions to kind of heal or find that dark side power. Because I keep thinking, you know, the books are hinting at that he's the dark side power out there. But the more I think about it, I don't think so. I think maybe there is some sort of dark side power out there, and Snoke knew about it, and he went there.
And there's one planet that they have not introduced yet in the Star Wars cinematic universe, and that's Korriban.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
The Sith homeworld. In the
Right.
movies, they have not
Right.
at all.
Right.
Or really any Sith planet.
Is there any possibility that Snoke could be Palpatine?
Oh, there's definitely a possibility. Like,
And that's why it's
reincarnated.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
even just him. That's being him. Like
I would buy that. I
Even-
mean, I'd be okay with that if that was a big reveal that he actually.
Well, also they said that Plagueis he could bring people back and whatever, but they also said that when he was getting to the point of dying, he could jump into different people's bodies and take over their bodies too.
Plagueis?
Yeah.
Or Palpatine?
Palpatine, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of
He had
remember that
He had
too.
that power that he can.
I don't think that's canon now,
I
but
don't
they could
either,
always
but,
make it canon
yeah.
again. Yeah, we were kind of talking about last week about like Snoke maybe being Anakin's brother and how much is Palpatine involved in everything, and I was kind of talking about like, yeah, we thought about that too. Like, what if Palpatine is actually just possessing this dude's body?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I was just thinking about like right now we're talking about the Force, the evil Force, the dark side Force in the outer regions. What if that's where the black kyber crystal came from? Right?
It's
I mean,
possible.
we don't know about a black kyber crystal at all.
They're gonna have to explain, or Snoke's gonna have to explain what this thing is.
So that feeling that Palpatine kept sensing out there is maybe this planet, maybe Korriban, that maybe has black kyber crystals growing on it.
Or it could have been.
Can you picture that? Just a tree of black kyber crystals.
Shaped like zucchini.
Don't eat that one, Eve. That one's bad. I want this black
Snoke
kyber
just
crystal.
munching on the end of it.
Like
I'm going to consume this and become evil.
Evil.
Oh, it's so filling.
I got a need for chicken all of a sudden.
Give me some watermelon.
Anyways, what were we saying?
How about kyber crystals?
Well, with this revelation about Snoke, it could very well be possible that it's Snoke himself that Palpatine was feeling.
It could be, and the book
If he's as powerful as they're saying he is,
right.
You have to have a massive amount of force energy to stick out like a sore thumb, pretty much.
That's what I'm thinking. This guy's got to be like the ultimate fucking real deal of everything.
But here's something to like think about. If it was Snoke, I mean, it appears that Snoke didn't want Palpatine to come find him, right? I mean, process of deduction
Or
here.
Snoke didn't want Palpatine to find him.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah. So if this power out there was Snoke, and it was kind of like calling to Palpatine, it's not like everybody heard it.
Mhm.
No.
Palpatine sensed it or heard it or felt it or whatever.
Yeah, even Luke never did.
But he wouldn't go. He kept sending other people.
Even Obi-Wan or Yoda, none of them sensed
Yeah.
anything.
Which is also mysterious. Like, why would you not go yourself?
Yeah.
You know, if that's like if there's some ultimate evil out there and he's ultimately evil, Palpatine, why would you not go yourself? Instead of like, we know he wasn't a very trusting person. Why would you entrust that to other people? So I don't know. That's kind of mysterious. Again, like I said, it might be Snoke, but it might have been something that Snoke found out there that was calling to Snoke too. You know, maybe Snoke heard
Could
it
have been.
as well.
Snoke was somewhere else in the galaxy. He sensed this. He went there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Maybe he sensed it before Palpatine.
True. Maybe he was gifted in the Force, but this power that he saw, or even this black kyber crystal, maybe amplifies his stuff tenfold, 100-fold.
What if he has the ability to turn people to the dark side? Holy shit! What if that's what he's doing to Kylo?
And Kylo's kind of
And
resisting.
because he's
Well, that kind of makes sense because Kylo Ren's kind of in and out of everything.
yeah, he's really kind of fucking
didn't
in
wanna
a
kill-
daze,
he didn't wanna
right?
kill Han Solo.
He's being torn apart by the light and the dark.
And that's what he even said. I'm being torn apart.
Right. So And I've heard, we've kind of brushed upon this a little bit, or we didn't maybe get to it. It's in my notes somewhere. I've watched this video about, is Kylo being brainwashed?
Mm-hmm.
Is he under a spell or a trance or something? So I was just thinking, like...
I think that's the only way you can redeem him.
I was thinking, yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Like, people would forgive that shit if it was like he didn't really do it. He was kind of under the power of someone else.
Yeah.
Could you forgive him for that?
No, fuck him.
Yeah, everyone but the Han Solo fans could let go of it. But what if this is what, like, happens to Luke? What if this is where, like, Luke faces Snoke and Snoke's like, boom, uses it on him, and fucking Luke temporarily goes to the dark side?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Luke would be a lot
Or he resists it, but maybe the temptation is there.
Right, because even in Return of the Jedi, the temptation was there.
Yeah.
It was there. Palpatine sensed it. He's
Right.
like, I know you want to use this on me.
Well, and we have the vision too that he got with him in Vader's mask.
Right.
You know, and he tells him, the Emperor tells him, accept your destiny now, strike him down, and take your place by my side.
Ooh, that was good.
I do have a pretty sweet Emperor when I want to.
That's good.
But this
that's really interesting. Now that we kind of like throw that out there again, like I wanted to bring this up. I don't think we talked about it last week. Is Kylo under a spell? Is he being brainwashed? And I've heard some shit about, like, I think Chris kind of hinted at it last week, but he might have lost me along the way.
It happens.
It happens. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We love you, man. That people have been talking about Rey becoming kidnapped by Snoke. Or Snoke has shown quite an interest in her. And there's like this speculation that maybe Kylo is going to go back, but in the process, he tempts Rey and brings her temporarily to the dark side. So then that would set up this situation where Ben and his uncle have to go save Rey. Kylo and his uncle, a redeemed Kylo, and Luke, who finds, okay, if Kylo becomes redeemed, maybe that's the ultimate, like, thing that brings Luke back, right? Because he put all of his fucking potatoes into Kylo, and he feels fucking torn or broken because Kylo failed him, or he failed Kylo. What if Kylo comes back to the light side? Nate is pining to throw something out there.
I see it.
And this is what wins Luke back. Like, okay, fuck, you're right. Now I gotta go back and fight. Nate.
You were just saying that, and something just popped into my head, and I think it makes sense for episode 9. Mm-hmm. It is rumored, it is supposedly rumored that Kylo gets captured by Luke, and Snoke captures Rey toward the end of episode 8. Mm-hmm. What if Luke brings Kylo back to the light? Snoke brings Rey into the dark, and then you get toward the end of 9, and Rey comes back. So essentially, you have 3 gray Jedi. Luke being on both sides. Let's not to say that Luke hasn't learned about some dark side.
I think he's learned
abilities or something.
I think he's learned something that the Jedi never practiced before.
Kylo being taught now on both sides, and now Rey, if it is to be believed that she is captured and maybe tricked or maybe seduced into, I can give you more power, I can feel your anger, all that gibberish.
Right.
And then she learns some dark side abilities, but then eventually breaks away. So that you essentially have 3 gray Jedi. The last 3 in the universe, they beat Snoke, beat him, either kill him or whatever.
Well, that makes sense.
And then you have a new gray order.
Because once you consider Anakin a gray Jedi, because he redeemed himself at the end.
And I'm kind of thinking that, this reveal, there's got to be a reveal to Luke Skywalker somewhere, somehow. He learns something, and that's why he tells her he's not down with training her. look, you don't understand, it's bigger than what you think it is. So we were kind of thinking it was that book. Maybe the book is just a piece of it. Maybe I've kind of been thinking lately that Anakin's going to show up.
He's going to show up.
And he's right. And
Well, it is confirmed he is going to be an 8.
Awesome.
Hayden Christensen.
Awesome.
Force Ghost, right?
As a Force Ghost, yes.
I can't
and
wait
Frank
to see.
Oz has been reported too.
And Yoda,
As
too.
Yoda. And that's why I keep saying that this black Kyber crystal ring that Yoda and Anakin they're done. That's the way to figure out how to kill Force Ghosts.
And
So
they said
before-
that was one of the powers that was going to be revealed in this one was the ability to kill Force
You're right. I
Ghosts.
remember you saying something
And I think
about
that's
that.
it. But then I also heard that Vader could come back as Force Ghost, 2 entities.
That's weird. I don't know. I don't understand that.
Like a Vader spirit, and then the Anakin spirit.
That's
Like,
weird
you know what I mean?
because the dark side shouldn't have the ability to do that.
Right.
Unless it's a brainwashing technique.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's not really Vader. The mask, he's talking to the mask. Maybe that's what he's been doing to Kylo, is showing him, like, his grandfather coming to talk to him and bullshitting him.
Well, yeah, it had to have been because Anakin redeemed himself.
Yeah, why would you talk to the mask and say, show me again?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about it being a vision, but maybe Snoke is like actually making him a Force ghost.
Seeing his puppeteer.
Now,
Yeah.
right. So
So I can almost see what you were talking about. That makes a lot of sense. I can almost see it though, like a rescue mission, right? Like,
Rogue 2.
like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Like obviously we got to stop Snoke, but we have to save Rey. So him and Kylo go there to save Rey, and can't you kind of see it like the big finale?
And I think that would be
The
too
4
much
of them
like in
together.
Episode 7, though.
Like 6, right? Or
When they need to go rescue her again. I mean, it'll be.
I'm envisioning like Kylo or Luke or both of them like talking to her while she's dark side under the influence or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, telling her like he's lying to you, search the Force, search your feelings, which brings me right back into episode 6 in the throne room when it's all going down, and basically, isn't it like Luke Skywalker talking to Vader?
Mm-hmm.
When they're fighting, and he's like telling them, like, I know there's good in you while they're fighting.
Right. He does that little backflip on the catwalk.
Right. So why Kylo and Luke are fighting Rey? They're both going, search your feelings. Your destiny doesn't lie in the darkness. Blah blah blah.
And she kills Luke
And Snow, maybe. Fuck.
during that fight. And it was
Fuck. That's good.
like a Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul style.
Oh my god. And maybe like that's what snaps her out of it.
Yeah, maybe that's what the spell is, to kill Luke. Everyone's underneath that spell.
And there's also a rumor that Rey might have a double-bladed lightsaber.
What if we just predicted the ending to the whole trilogy, right? And we're sitting there fucking 2 years from now going, that's right, you heard it first, right here, on the Nerd Ed Council, on Force Friday. I'll get so excited, my voice is getting all crazy. We know what's gonna happen.
I still think that staff first is a lightsaber.
I do too, man. She has not gotten rid of it.
And if you look at the edge, the ends of it, it's the same exact end as Darth Maul's fucking double-bladed lightsaber.
I almost think
Got
it's
that triangle look to it.
it came from Jakku, right?
And they're even hinting that Episode 9 can go back. They might go back to Jakku.
And we were talking about her staff. It came from Jakku, we would assume, right? She grew up on Jakku. And Jakku is special. And we even know that they, through the books, I don't know if we've talked about this, like they were doing digs on Jakku.
The Force guided her toward it.
Yeah, like she didn't.
It has some sort of significance that we don't know about
Maybe
yet.
the dark side forced it to her.
So she's using that fucking staff, double-bladed lightsaber, at the end of episode 9. This fight we're talking about, fighting Kylo and Luke on one side and the other.
Oh my god, dude.
Dude, it would be fucking epic. That would be an
And
awesome
she
thing.
kills Luke. That's the fucking perfect way to kill him. Keep him around to the very end of 9, because you don't really want him in the next trilogy. I mean, I do.
I mean,
but-
what would you
No,
think? What's the first thing you think of when you see a double-bladed lightsaber? Darth Maul.
Yeah.
There's been no other double-bladed lightsaber since then.
So
But how did his lightsaber get on Jakku?
How did fucking Maz find Luke?
I know, I was just thinking that, like...
You know? I mean, maybe someone traded it or
Jakku is a
some
garbage planet.
shit. Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Everybody throws
why
their
is the
junk
Falcon
there.
on Jakku? Why is BB-8 and Poe on Jakku? Everything's on Jakku. There's got to be
Because
something.
they're all garbage.
Maybe. I mean, there might be something to that. Or like the Emperor knew, like, shit can't get off of Jakku.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we already know that, like, there's some sort of protective force barrier. And maybe Palpatine started dumping shit there. Burying shit.
Yeah, because that's the weird thing, because at the beginning of it, Poe and BB-8 were on Jakku, and then they got captured by the First Order, and then they crashed back on Jakku. What's the probability of them crashing back on the same planet?
Well,
if they just left.
We already know, like, that one area of Jakku, like, the desert that swallows shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they could write that right into the story of, like, the Emperor, like, knew that and, like, buried shit.
Sarlacc Pit has a brother.
And there's a lot of...
Barlack.
Every once in a while, it burps something out.
And there's
Ray was just
probably-
standing there one day. Bleh! Hey,
There's probably a lot of dark energy that's on that planet, because you got all the walkers that died. You got this what the fuck was
Well,
it?
the book prelude to 7, that there was an epic battle over
Yeah.
Jakku, where the
Yeah.
Imperials, I guess, were fighting the rebels or whatever, and there was massive casualties.
Basically, the end of the Empire, like the official end of the
And it
Empire,
all
was
ended
then.
on
happened
Jakku.
on Jakku.
So
There
that's
you
why
go.
you have crash star destroyers
And
and
then why would they
everything.
drop her off on Jakku?
That is yet to be revealed.
Okay, Jeremy's gone. What's going on with Raw this week?
Yeah.
For all you WWE fans out there.
Welcome to the Wrestling Corner.
Welcome to the real zone.
But yeah, man, I would rather the three of them
That would
fight
be awesome.
Snoke and then beat Snoke together, but before Snoke dies, maybe he gets in a big last-ditch force,
Yeah.
Kills something, and, like, wounds Luke.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, you can't die. It's like, okay, it's okay.
Or he sacrifices himself.
Or that, too.
I think that's what's going to happen. It'll either be a sacrifice or Luke dying, maybe a sacrifice, you think?
Hey, you guys talking thoughts when I get here?
We were about to talk wrestling. Lucky you walked back.
I had to do a little bathroom break after my 10th cup of coffee today. I'm gonna have to start putting a catheter in for the podcast.
It's like, oh, that's my shoe.
Anyways, what were we
Or
talking about?
what if Kylo Ren dies, sacrifices himself to save Luke?
How would you feel about that?
I don't care.
Wreck it?
Still a punk ass bitch.
But would you feel
I mean,
vindicated, like,
And he
yeah.
steps in front of her lightsaber blow, like she's coming after Luke, and he steps in front of it or something.
and then he takes the blade, and then that's when Luke kills Rey.
The ultimate redemption story.
Yeah.
I don't think you would kill Rey, though. You're building her up to be some big badass.
I mean, she
Depends on how
blocked-
dark side she might go. You know what I
She's
mean?
stronger than Kylo Ren at this point because Kylo Ren tried reading her mind, and she blocked it.
At this point, meaning before 8, we don't know.
Yeah.
At 8, we might see Kylo appear as a complete badass from the very beginning.
But look at her though; she was captured by the First Order, and within one movie, she knew, or within the first 20 minutes, she knew more about the Force and how to use it than Luke did for the whole movie.
yeah,
of
they
the
gotta
Old.
explain that shit. They do.
Yeah, you can't just fucking okay. Here's a lightsaber, you use it, but Luke had to go to Dagobah and all that shit, and then she just fucking picks one up and kicks ass.
To me, that's the only real importance of her origin story, like who her parents are. And honestly, that's important.
I still gonna stand by
Because 7
the
doesn't make sense.
reincarnation of-
7 doesn't make sense unless you explain what she is.
I think she's a reincarnation of the first Force user, and her powers she couldn't control, and that's why her parents stuck her on Jakku. Go ahead, you're good.
It's...
Or she just fucking was a little bitch at the house, and they You know, like, I can't deal with this crazy chick. She killed a dog. She's fucking around with a cat. The babysitter don't want to come back anymore. She's scaring people.
So I'm going to talk a little bit, just sidetrack here for a second about the book that I've been listening to, the audiobook, because it has to do with a little bit of
Is it canon?
Oh, yeah.
Bloodlines, right?
Oh, Bloodlines.
Yeah,
Right.
so here's the story. You know, somebody told me about. I've been not a reader and not a reader at all. But these books, they really interest me because I hear shit that are in the books. There's a lot of backstory about what's going on. So Bloodlines is one of the books that I heard was the best. And so I was like, man, I should really kind of look into the audiobook version. Somebody said to me, hey, go on YouTube, it's free.
Yeah, I said that.
Was that you?
Yeah, I
Alright.
said go to YouTube.
Good looking out, man.
Yeah.
So I did. So the other night I was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to check it out. So I went on there and I was like, it's like 2 hours and 7 minutes. I'm like, oh man, this is an investment. But alright, I want to do it. I'm going to check it out. So I start listening to it. I get all the way through it, man. And it's like 2 hours and 4 minutes. And we're like right in the middle of this action sequence. And I'm like, how the fuck are they going to wrap this book up in 3 minutes? And they didn't. They like ended it right like at the end of the action scene, and literally like the dialogue just cuts off. I'm like, what the fuck? So I look down and I see, oh, there's a part 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is a 10-hour fucking book that I have decided. And I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. I'm 2 hours into this.
You invested too much.
I
in a
know.
10-hour movie.
I'm gonna do it.
10-hour
By the time Force Awakens, The Last Jedi gets here, I will have heard the book. But the reason I bring it up is because there's some interesting shit, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. One of the things, it's mainly a Leia story, and it's kind of describing, like, we're about 5 or 6 years before the rise of the First Order, so Snoke's not in the picture yet. She's still Senator.
Kylo Ren's in it though, right?
Kylo Ren is in it, but I have not reached. I'm big Kylo boy right now, and Kylo's turning into my boy.
Yeah, he's all right. He's not the great.
I know, Ralph. We're gonna have moral differences about Kylo. I think.
I mean, if I had,
Kylo fascinates me. I like the actor, and I don't know where they're going with him at all. I mean, he's more of a question mark than Rey is. I really think he's going to be redeemed, but I don't know how, because it's got to be good. It's got to be something good in order for everybody to go, all right, cool, we'll forgive him.
Or maybe Snoke tries to kill Rey and he steps in and takes the blade or takes the bullet or whatever, or maybe he fucking kills Snoke. I don't know. Maybe Vader. Look at Vader. He picked up the Emperor out of nowhere and threw his ass in the pit, and he's kind of redeemed.
Yeah, I mean, but people really loved Vader, even when he was evil. You know, there's not much love.
Is it copycat though? If he gets redeemed, and we're just watching this shit, the same fucking shit over and over.
I don't mind that about Star Wars.
No, because
I really don't.
No, because you can see it in Episode 7, like right from the get go. Like he's a bad guy, but you can already tell that he's not completely turned. And he's even said, "I'm conflicted. I'm being torn apart." All this stuff. So he's like, it's like a part of him is fighting it. Like he's not fully given in to the dark side.
Killing Rey, he also said, "Why don't you just join me and I can train you?" So he's got a soft spot for Rey. So he's got to know her from somewhere,
right? And also the novel of Episode 7 actually says after he killed Han, he was very disappointed because he actually felt weaker when he thought that would bring him, kind of like Anakin's ultimate like betrayal and turn to the dark side was killing the younglings. And he probably knows that story, I would assume. And so he kind of did this thinking, this is what's going to separate me from that bond of love or whatever, and I'll just go completely hatred and dark side. And in the novel, it says that he felt weaker, which kind of helps a little bit explain the ending of 7.
So basically, he's just going around fucking shit up and not doing nothing.
He doesn't really know what he's doing, which kind of like makes the whole brainwashing thing make more sense.
But,
right, and we still don't know, because he said, when he's talking to the Vader mask, I will finish what you started. We still don't know what that is.
Did he start being on the good side,
And maybe-
start being.
And so there is supposedly a rumor that Vader is going to be in this too.
That's what I heard too. I
And
heard that same
and
thing.
that could expound upon what Vader was doing. Maybe Vader.
Are we talking? That's what I was saying. Are we talking flashback scene?
I mean, obviously a flashback scene.
That would be
because-
awesome. The movie opens up as with a flashback with Vader.
That would be badass. But we already know it's not opening like that. It's opening right at 7.
Yeah,
Right at the end, with Rey holding the lightsaber,
that would be sweet though.
and
But-
Luke's like, "Bitch, who are you?"
But I could see her having visions about shit like that.
Oh yeah,
Or
dude.
him.
Him and her could have visions of, or he could have a flashback of him dreaming and having Darth Vader in his dream as a kid or something that maybe triggers something in his head.
Right. Well, the reason I bring up the bloodlines, and I do want to talk about it a little bit, but we were talking about Kylo, and where I'm at, about 2 hours and 15 minutes into the story, there's a couple of times that she references Kylo as a little kid. And there's one time she talks about, like, the mischievous look he always got on his face after playing really hard all day, and he loved being dirty, like, and filthy. Like, he'd come home with this mischievous smile on his face. And it kind of implies a little bit, like, she says something about, like, I know he needs a mother, and the Senate pulls me away from that. Like,
Yeah.
that separation thing that he's feeling, oh, my parents didn't love me shit. They're hinting at that already. But so far, it's only like her talking about him being a little kid, which I was kind of having issues with the timeline of this. And I'm trying to remember why. So it opens, I'll tell you guys the opening, it's pretty cool. The opening is, there's this ceremony going on something Prime. It's the planet that was destroyed in 7.
Hoshin and Prime or something like
Something
that.
like that.
I think, yeah.
So that's the new capital of the Republic.
Well, was the new
What? Now
That's the one
now
that
it's
got-
past. Yeah, on one of the planets, because there was a few of them that got
With the
one.
black lady, the black girl staring at it. That's probably
Remember
one.
when we see the senators kind of like, oh my god!
That was a
And
giant. They said it's a giant lightsaber crystal.
Kyber crystal
Yeah.
coming at them.
Yeah, coming at them.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
lightsabers.
Hasnian Prime.
Hasnian
Prime.
Yeah.
So, because I remember watching 7 going, wait, what the fuck, was that Coruscant that just blew up? Like, because that was kind of like, oh,
Like,
I don't want to
oh,
blow
shit.
Coruscant up. But no, they moved, for whatever reason, they moved the Senate capital
Mm-hmm.
to Hasnian Prime, and now it's gone. They destroyed Hasnian Prime in 7. But this book opens with a ceremony at Hasnian Prime, and it's like a big deal. Like, people from all over the galaxy came to this ceremony because they're unveiling a statue of Bail Organa. And Leia's there, and the whole book is Leia's thoughts and perspective. She's basically narrating it.
Mm.
Which I kind of have issues with that a little bit. We'll maybe get into that a little bit later, but I know you can't hate on Leia too much.
I'm not.
It's
Dude.
too soon.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
But it's a really kind of cool opening because she's like, she's talking about how fucked up. Like, she's like, all these people are clapping, and there's like X-wings flying overhead, like just like we have F-16s flying overhead and shit like this, right? And she's like, there's people, the crowd is roaring and cheering, and she's like, if they only really knew how close we are to collapse. And like, she's very pessimistic kind of in her tone in the beginning of the book, and she's like, but she's kind of like, snap out of it, Leia. She's kind of talking to herself. She's like, you should be very excited about, the memory of your father and what they're really honoring today. And they unveil this, it's fucking a 60-foot statue of Bail Organa, which is now gone.
Well,
There's money well spent.
What is she afraid of it collapsing? Like, who's...
Okay, so basically where we're at, like 5 or 6 years before episode 7, what's going on in the galaxy, she keeps talking about, she actually says in the beginning of the book, like, she's really ready to quit, and I'm going to talk about this because I totally thought about you, Ralph. She's talking to Han, like, Skyping Han. basically they're holograms of each other.
Right.
And he's on some planet, and basically Han likes, he's a very good mentor, and like he takes people under his belt, under his wing, and kind of like shows them how to be a scoundrel. I don't know how to
smuggle and
how to
shit.
smuggle, right? But he was working for the Resistance, so he's also kind of like recruiting for the Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're having this like intimate conversation, which was really fucking cool, man. Because you don't get much of that in 7, you know what I mean? And she's like talking to him in her bedroom, and she's combing her hair and shit while she's talking to him, and they have this really cool intimate conversation. And he even calls her, he still calls her Princess once in a while, like as a nickname, which is cute and cool. Kind of a callback. And she tells him, because she had been having thoughts like, I'm fucking done with the Senate. I'm done. Like, there's no point in it. They just bicker. Basically, like, the state of the United States right now, and how we don't get shit accomplished because of the division in Congress. And so that's where the Republic is right now. And she even says that it's worse than it was before the fall of, like when Palpatine
Of the Republic.
Of the Republic. I was going to say
And that's
the
pretty.
old Republic, but
And that's pretty bad.
that's pretty bad, because Palpatine was manipulating everyone's minds and shit, and they're even worse than that, she's saying. She's like, so what's the point? And she's telling Han this, and he's like, you've never talked about this. You love politics. And he's like, I don't believe you, basically. He's hinting at it. She's like, no, I'm serious, Han. I'm just about I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole story kind of like revolves around this. There is a alien from another planet that shows up, and I can't remember the name of the planet, but it's an inner world planet. And he like shows up to the Senate, and he's talking about there are gangsters running my planet like behind the scenes, and the Senate is not doing anything about it. You're just turning your heads. And while he's giving this speech, Leia's of course listening, and everybody else is just kind of like they don't give a shit. And Leia, she's basically at this point of like, I'm ready to quit, and then she's like, I'll volunteer to go investigate. And she stands up, and everybody in the Senate's like, what? Like, no, you can't go. Right, you're far too important. Why would you go? We'll send someone else. And she's like, no, I want to go. And she gets all excited, really, like the idea of like, oh, it'll be like the good old days, I'll get a blaster on my side, and he gets
either I go or I'm gonna kill you, motherfuckers.
Right, I go or nobody goes. And so you have these two parties, which is kind of interesting the way they like spell it out to you. So you have the populace, who, and we're not going to get too political because we don't do that. But the populists kind of seem like the Democrats because they are like more like of the people, for the people. Mm-hmm. And then you have the centralists, which seem to me more like the Republicans.
So it's all about themselves.
And they're more like, they're more kind of like
their own self-interest.
Yeah, kind of like we can't really get ourselves involved.
This doesn't involve us.
Right, and you have
build
this
a wall.
Right, let's just build a wall. Fuck
Build
it.
a wall. Travel bans.
Oh, right, and you kind of, it's interesting because you start thinking about like, here's what's fucked up about this new republic. You don't really have the police anymore to enforce it. You don't really have an army. The Jedi are not there.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it like, wait a minute. If it's only like 5 or 6 years away from The Force Awakens, shouldn't there be a Jedi Order that Luke is training?
Or a listed Jedi temple.
Right. There's a new Jedi temple, and there's Jedi, right?
And we don't know where this Jedi Academy is.
That's why
or how long it existed, right? I mean, because the book so far, 2 hours into it, says nothing about Jedi.
And it probably won't, because after Order 66, or after Luke defeated Vader, that was pretty much...
Let me tell you guys like where I started thinking about this. So in the story, when she volunteers, and they're all like, no, you can't do that, you're too important. And she's like insistent upon it. And one guy from the Centralists steps forward, and he's like, he becomes a real key figure in the story, and he's like, hair slicked back, he's a young politician, and he's like, well, he gives this like great speech. He's like, I, for one, think it's great what Princess Leia has suggested, and you know, he's giving her props for, you know, her bravery, blah blah blah. And I'm surprised no one in my own party has suggested or volunteered. And he's like, so therefore I will volunteer and to also go with her. And he's like, and then one general stands up and he's like, because there is an army of some sort, and he's like, we will send like 200 troops or something to protect. And then they start bickering again, because then whatever the opposite political side, they stand up and go, you can't do that, because if you send 200 troops in there, it's going to look like an invasion. Sounds a lot like our fucking politics. And so then they're bickering, and this like slick politician, he's like, look, her and I and a small group will go, and we'll keep in touch with you, but we don't need any security, we can take care of ourselves. So that's where I was kind of like thinking, well, where the fuck are the Jedi? I mean, shouldn't Leia be like, well, why don't I just get a hold of my brother and he'll send a couple Jedi with us? Because that never happens. And I'm thinking in my head, well, if they're only 5 or 6 years away from 7, we know Luke was rebuilding the new Jedi Order.
Yeah, and plus, if it's only 6 years apart, how long does it take to build all that shit that Kylo Ren's working with? You know, like the fucking the
right. So far, there's no mention of the First Order in the galaxy in this book. 5 or 6 years away.
The timeline's fucked up then, dude.
So all of that shit, First Order, happens within
quick.
5 years, pretty fast. Because if we're, let's say, 6 years out, or 5.5 right now, at this story time, Bloodlines, then, you know, the story gets over with, you got like 5 years for everything to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So far, like I said, no mention of the First Order or the Jedi, which just kind of threw me off, and I thought, well, this is the perfect time for her to be going, why don't we just take a couple Jedi with us? And she doesn't even mention that.
That is strange.
I will say this since we're talking about it. This is a fucking really cool part. So she goes to this planet, and there's these gangsters on the planet. They're not the Hutts, but they're gangsters, and they are basically running the planet. And they greet her. And I'll tell you a little bit about the planet, whatever planet it is. I don't remember, but it's kind of cool because there's tunnels and caves all over the planet.
Okay.
And inside these tunnels, there's like, the wind is always blowing like really hard, and so it's like really hard to hear and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this there is sound effects in the audiobook, which is kind of cool. So whenever they're in these tunnels, there's just like this, and she starts talking about like, oh, like this is why they're running this planet. It's the perfect planet to keep secrets, because like, you know, like nothing really gets,
can't hear shit.
Yeah, nothing gets past the planet because no one can really hear shit.
Mm-hmm.
But so she meets this guy who's like the head gangster boss, and he's like, welcome. He almost sounds just like those fucking Trade Federation guys.
Oh, yeah.
His voice sounds just like it, and I'm like, I wonder if that's the same alien. I'm gonna have to do some research and find out, because this guy, I'm sure, is kind of a key figure.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we're so happy to have you, Princess Leia, and everyone.
The frog-looking guys.
Yeah, those guys with the weird voices. And so she's like, yeah. She's kind of like not trusting in him. But the whole time, this other guy who she came with, what happens is she's pissed off that this guy volunteers, because she's like, oh, fuck, now the whole trip is going to be all politics, because he's on the opposite side of this, like a Republican and a Democrat going on a mission together.
Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Right, and they instantly don't get along, and she says something shitty to him, and because he's like wearing this like long flowing cape, and she says something about like, that's what you're wearing, and he says something. And he makes a reference, this is kind of weird, he makes a reference to the Empire didn't have it all wrong. It was just they had the wrong emperor. And she fucking loses her shit. She's like, man. Are you fucking implying, she doesn't say fucking, but she's like, are you fucking implying that the Empire was right? And he's like, no, don't mix my words. He's like, no. But he's basically saying like, there must be a rule of law. And he's like, as far as I can tell, the problems we have, and he makes a pretty valid point, and she even says this to herself. Like, oh, yeah, that's a valid point. I can't really say shit about that.
Right.
He's like, as far as I can tell, the biggest problem that we have is there's no one to enforce rule of law anymore. He said, because we were, basically we've become so afraid of power that there is no central power anymore. And so nothing gets done. So that's where we're at with the Republic now, that they're so afraid of the Empire rising up again that they won't give anyone power, and Mon Mothma is dead at this point.
Well, kind of
by the way.
Oh,
She died. Yeah, she dies. They don't really talk about it, so it must have happened in one of the other books, or even before the books. And she talks about, like, Mon Mothma got shit done because people respected her and stuff. And once she died, like, everything just kind of went to fucking hell. But this really cool part is she gets kidnapped. Leia gets kidnapped on this planet by the gangster dude, and he has a couple of his henchmen kidnap her and bring her to him, and it's just her, and but she's got like a tracking device so the others can find her, and she was like, why did you kidnap me? And he's like, I'm sorry, princess, that I had to take such extreme measures to bring you here, but it was very important that I had a meeting with you. So, and he's like, and I didn't think you would come to an invitation, so you must understand why. And he's like, I have a gift for you to make things right. This is pretty badass. So this guy comes out with this bottle of wine, and she's like, is that? No, it can't be.
From Alderaan.
It's from Alderaan. And he's like, you might recognize the bottle. And he starts pouring it, and she says to him, is that something Alderaan wine or whatever? And he's like, yes, it is. And she's like, basically just like she can smell it. And she kind of goes into this like flashback of sitting by her father's side on Alderaan. And they even talk about her castle she fucking lived in, which is pretty fucking cool because you never didn't. She was a princess.
Yeah.
But she talks about how like she was at these meetings. She was allowed one glass of wine when she was like a teenager of this Alderaan wine. So she's basically just like, oh wow, she's having these flashbacks. And he's like, I'm glad you like the gift. And he's like. She's like, yeah, I do. Like it. You must have gone to great lengths. And he goes, yes. He says, I'm a man that can get anything I want, you see. And he says, I have another gift for you. He says, but first, before I give this gift to you, I must. So he's trying to bribe her.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, all right. So before I give you this gift, he says, I basically look the other way. Is what he's telling. Can the Republic please look the other way at what we're doing here? Because what we're doing is actually good for the planet and the people, blah, blah, blah. And she's, like, interested in what the gift is, so she doesn't say anything yet, and he brings her the gift, and it's, like, a holocron of some sort. Not a Jedi or a Sith holocron. But he sets it down in front of her, and he goes, please, watch. And she's like, okay, and so she turns it on, and she sees it's basically like a security camera, I guess, from Jabba's slave ship on Tatooine.
From episode 6, okay.
And she says, I see Han, and I see Luke, and Luke's about to go off into the Sarlacc pit, and I see Jabba, and she said, and they kind of hint at, like, Jabba's death earlier in the novel. And she's basically watching it all go down, and she's never seen it happen other than out of her own eyes. And so he's, like, giving her this as a gift, and he's sitting there while she's watching it, like, with this huge smile on his face. And he's talking to her while she's watching it, going... talking about how the people on this planet, they hate the Hutts. And he's like, you don't understand the respect that you have.
She killed Jabba.
Yeah, the respect you have on this planet. He says, the people really look up to you. There is a name that they have given you. And she's like, a name? And he's like, a title. And it is more important than princess or senator. And she's like, well, what's that? Hut Slayer.
Hut Slayer, yeah. I was thinking like Hut Killer or something like that.
And then she sees herself grab, the chains, and she's choking him out. And she's like talking to herself about like she's never seen his death.
Yeah.
And how she felt such hatred inside of her. Because she first starts talking about like he's talking about like, it is amazing the strength that you find inside of yourself to strangle a hut. The force that it would take is incredible. And she starts talking to herself, and she's like, I remember the feeling of such hatred deep down inside me. And I was like, oh my god, there's the force, the Skywalker dark side. When she's choking his ass out,
she's using the Force.
She's channeling the fucking Force, the dark side of the Force that we see Luke sometimes go into. These little fits of rage. And she starts talking about, like, I remember that moment, but I don't remember it. Because she's like, it was a very surreal moment. Like, it almost just happened without me even doing it. And I'm like, wow, they're talking about the Force. And so he's like, this alien is like, we love you, Princess Leia. And he's like, before she can like tell him like, I'm not gonna accept your bargain, the other guy, the Republican dude or whatever, he fucking blasts through the doors and starts shooting at the bad guy. And he's like, Princess Leia, this is a rescue mission. And he's got a speeder bike, and she turns around and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? Because, she's got it all under control in her mind. And he's like, hey, I'm saving your life, come with me. And she's like, oh my god.
Right.
Like rolling her eyes. And so she basically has to go with him at this point. And so they jump on the speeder bike, and then there's this big chase, and that's kind of like the end of the first part.
Mm.
So this book then has nothing to do with Jedis or anything?
Not yet. At all.
Does it say anything about Kylo Ren? Or Ben, anyways?
There's like
besides him being...
There's like 2 or 3 references that she makes about Ben, and it's when he's a kid.
So is her and Han Solo together at this point? Or
yeah, they're married.
Hmm.
Which I didn't even know that, because they didn't really say it. They
Yeah.
didn't say husband or wife in the movies or anything. But they do in this novel refer to like the bad guy says something, the guy I'm just talking about, the gangster, he says something to her because she makes some snide comment about, gangsters, and he's like, I thought you of all people would be more open-minded about that sort of, the way we do business or whatever. And she's like, why do you say that? And he says, well, after all, you did marry a pirate. And he basically says, once a pirate, always a pirate. I think he actually says that.
So when do you think that they actually split up then? Because it almost seems like him and Leia kind of split up.
It seems to me like it's more like work oriented. It seems
at this point in the book.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to me like they're very much in love. Everything in this book, and it's only 5 or 6 years away. Like I said, there's a part where they're talking to each other, like Skyping each other, and she's like talking about how handsome he looks, and he calls her princess, and so no great falling out has happened yet, but it sounds like, because when she's talking about quitting the Senate, she says something to him like, yeah, maybe, I figure maybe it's time for you to have a woman at your side on these missions. And he's like, oh, don't get me excited like that if you're just bullshitting me, And she's like, oh, I'm not. So it sounds to me like he's off doing his own thing, and she's off being a senator.
But they're still together.
They're married, they just don't see each other. And Kylo is just like, basically, what do they call those kids that raise a latchkey kid? He's just basically even raising himself. And instead of TV, it's Snoke. While you were at work, Snoke Vision was on.
I can
kill your parents, join me, this is what your grandfather wanted.
Do you think we'll go into any detail about Poe's background?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess
I mean, there's really not much. I don't know.
I'm not gonna read all of these books.
And how well, not in your book, but I'm just saying, like in the movies, like how does Poe know this guy that Kylo Ren knows? You know what
I have heard that there's some backstory about him in the books, but I don't know how much.
Yeah, I don't know either.
By the way, speaking of books, today, Force Friday, Phasma came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Give her
So-
backstory?
Yeah, there's a lot about Phasma. It's a whole book about her. So
Was she a main character in the prequels or anything?
there's a big storyline with Phasma in this one. In episode 8, she's gonna have a lot bigger part. So I don't know how much. I did hear a little bit of speculation about the book. The book's something about like somebody said something about she doesn't take her mask off and her helmet off in 8 at all. Because a lot of people are pissed. They want to see.
She's pretty hot.
Yeah,
though, I
she
heard.
is. Gwendolyn
Isn't she from
Christie.
Game of Thrones? or
Yeah.
Yeah, she's from Game of
Yeah,
Thrones.
yeah, Nate's a fan. We were just kind of talking about Game of Thrones before you got here, and it's,
She's got to take it off sooner or later.
you would think, like, why hire her if you're not going to show her? She's gorgeous, I guess. And
Yeah,
I know
she's a-
that's what it was. In the book, there's mention of like how beautiful she is. Like, so somebody's seen her without her mask off. It's not like she never takes it off. But it might be a big reveal. They might keep it on till 9 or something. Maybe she's got fucking gruesome scars or something.
That's what I'm guessing. Maybe she's got some kind of like a.
She used to be a
Scarface.
beautiful woman, and like maybe Snoke.
Maybe her husband was a
fucked her up.
stormtrooper or something, or
Maybe that's part of the training program. Is like they have the ability to fucking torture you physically and shit.
Probably.
I don't know, but yeah, Phasma came out today. My plan is if I get through this fucking book and I like it, enough. There's another one I'm interested in, Empire's End. There's 2 Aftermath books. There's Aftermath, and then there's 3. There's Aftermath, which I think is just called Aftermath, which is the first book, which Joe has.
yeah, my book.
Right. There's a second one called Life Debt, which has a lot to do with Chewie and Han.
Right.
Aftermath, Life Debt. And then there's a third one that just came out not too long ago called Empire's End. And that's kind of where you get to find out more about Jakku. And the Battle of Jakku. And I'm kind of thinking, like, if I can get through this and it doesn't fucking take my soul away from me, that I might read Empire's End, or audiobook it, not read it, but audiobook it.
Right.
But beyond that, that's as far as unless they put out a Luke Skywalker book, I'm in.
Right. Yeah.
And
That might
after
be
8 or
good.
9, maybe there might be, who knows.
Yeah.
There's certain stories, and like I said, I gotta find out how hard this audiobook shit is. It's enjoyable right now, but, it's like you get on the internet and there's plenty of shit to do, and you keep thinking, I can always listen to that audiobook, or I could fuck around on the internet. And most of the time the internet wins.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get through it. Mark my words. I will at least finish this one. But yeah, I was thinking about you when I was listening to this one, man. Like, I wonder, my boy didn't get much Han Solo. I wonder. So by the time I
Yeah,
get
that
done
would
with
be
it, I'll tell you how much Han is in it if it's actually worth 10 hours of your time.
See, I don't know. Han Solo is just one of those guys that he's not really a hero, but he's not really a bad guy. You know what I mean?
I love Han. I do. I love Han because he's Harrison Ford. Like, I've thought about that before, and that's kind of like my issue with the Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
Like, I love Han Solo because it's Harrison Ford.
And he's still around, and they're not CGI-ing anything. And it's like you're going to have kids are going to see this guy as Han Solo.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he pulls it off, he pulls it off. I'm all for that. I hope he does. But fucking Harrison Ford's not an easy one to mimic.
No.
No.
Looks or
Just mannerisms.
mannerism.
I mean, he never lost that Han Solo thing because he virtually was just playing himself.
Well, a lot of his lines were
Ad-libs.
ad-lib. Like
That makes sense.
when he was going into the pit, when she said "I love you," he was supposed to say "I love you too."
And he did, right.
But he said "I know."
I know.
Yeah,
Which
and
became epic.
he really hated the character Han Solo because he thought that Han Solo was so like he thought it was more like a Romeo and Juliet, like "I love you too" type thing. He wanted it to be more of a scoundrel and a pirate personality than romantic.
Yeah.
Bitch, you better not fuck while I'm frozen.
And they do kind of like they touch upon that a little bit in this book so far, like because there's like the guy, the main Republican bad guy or whatever,
Right.
senator. He makes a comment. He makes a comment about Alderaan, which pisses her off too. But he also makes a comment about your husband and like so there's this like opinion of Han Solo that's still. Like, even though he's fighting for the resistance...
He still has that reputation
Yeah.
as a kind of like a two-faced type.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of see that in 7, too.
Yeah.
You know,
when
with
he
the
was...
Raptors or whatever
That
the fuck they are.
And that's what he was saying, that he did not like doing that kind of stuff. Like, that kind of corny shit, you know? Like, the Raptors and the two gangs and shit. But
Yeah.
you do got to watch that YouTube video of him watching Episode 8 trailer. Oh, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Tell them.
Yeah, he was, someone recorded him watching the trailer to Episode 8. He was watching it, and then Princess Leia turned around, and he looked at Leia on the TV, and he just started, like, you could see it, like, building up on him and shit. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
I liked it. It was cool.
Harrison Ford forever.
Right. Until Episode 7. Oh, shit. Speaking of Harrison Ford, is that Indiana Jones movie still a go? Because weren't they going to do an Indiana Jones movie?
Yeah, they were going to. I don't think
Leave
there's
the man
anything.
alone.
I don't think there's anything concrete yet.
Leave the poor guy alone.
As long as they don't do aliens.
That was bad. That was like, what the fuck? Aliens? What?
I guess they could always do Nazis again. Nazis appear to be popular nowadays, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Running people over.
For some reason.
Indiana Jones.
It's not murder. It's just
Indiana Jones in the Last Quarter.
I looked both ways.
And then short round. I ain't sorry.
I think he was a Force Ghost, Ralph. I don't think I killed him.
I didn't kill him.
He was already dead, Ralph.
You ran your car and a group of people see that.
Oh, yeah.
That should get out of my way.
I will say, just to finish up the talk about the book, what got me into reading this book was I had heard, I think from Collider, that this book is where, and it's probably this like shitty Republican senator guy that gives her away.
Yeah.
This is the book where Vader is revealed to be her father.
Yeah, you were telling me about that,
Yeah.
and that's why she was having a hard time with the election or something,
And
right?
so it's like interesting. I mean, it's called Bloodlines, and the beginning of the book, she's talking about her father. Like she gives this speech at that big ceremony when the
Talking about Vader or her?
no about Bail.
Bail Organa.
All right, and she's like giving this real sentimental speech about him and stuff. So it starts off with like her daddy, but not her daddy, and so it's pretty obvious. And we talked about this a little bit. Like, I hope to fuck if Hayden Christensen is in this, and it's been confirmed. I hope he speaks to Leia. Like that to me, and it's weird. I was just sitting here one night. I never thought about that. Like Luke got to have his moment with his dad. She never did.
No, the only time she did was when he tried killing her.
Right, and to this point, we don't know that she talks to Force ghosts. We don't know. Like, so far in this novel, she's not using Force powers. Like, there is the Force in her, but she doesn't know how to use it. Although there's a scene where she goes to this planet and the gangsters are like, they show her this casino that they're running. And, like, the other guy is like, oh, he's offended and, like, we shouldn't even be in here. And Leia's like, well, hey, after we eat, can we play? And the gangster guy's like, yes, of course. Like, let's take their money. Like, I'm sure that she's got a lot of money. And the other guy is like, I can't believe, Senator, I can't believe you would even consider that. And she's like, just chill out. I know what I'm doing. And so basically there's a game, like a game of chance, like a card game. And they call it something, I forget what it was. But she says that Lando and Han taught her how to play it. Right. But then you kind of start thinking, like, she starts running the fucking table. And, like, there's a crowd, and, like, she, like, throws the dice. There's, like, a hologram or something. And, like, she throws the dice, and she's fucking winning big. And everybody's behind her like, yeah. And you kind of get the impression that she's like using the Force. But maybe she the way she's talking, like maybe she doesn't even know it's the Force.
Maybe her whole life she's been using it and not even.
Yeah, that's kind of seems like where they're going. Like the Force has been helping her in her life, but she doesn't really understand.
Well, it makes sense because she's been elected. She's escaped murder 1,000 different times.
So you kind of have this perfect scenario where you have the opportunity for Anakin to come back as a Force ghost and talk to her. And I'll bawl like a fucking baby. I mean, that's got to be emotional. When we see her, it's going to be emotional.
Do you think Anakin is going to be the one to save Kylo Ren as Force Ghost? Come back and be like, look, this is not what you want. This is not...
Like,
Unless him, Obi-Wan, and Yoda get wiped out by Snoke's new power.
Yeah. I think if Anakin does die as a Force Ghost, I think that might trigger something. But
in Kylo?
Yeah, like wake him up a little bit.
Since he loves Anakin so much?
Yeah. Or loves Darth Vader anyways,
Yeah.
not so much Anakin.
Yeah, he seems very misguided about who Anakin was. And maybe that's where him and Luke... I bet. Like, maybe that's where they parted ways, was like, maybe Luke sat him down and was like, look, this is what really happened. Because even in this novel, like I said, we're only 5 years out, and nobody knows about who Darth Vader is, really. They know who he is, but nobody knows he's got children.
And maybe he's...
Luke Skywalker is mentioned in this novel, very briefly, by the Republican guy. And he does say, your brother. So, like I said, I was kind of like, I'm trying to like piece together, like, who's going to be the one that reveals. And at first I thought it was like that other senator, but then I was thinking, well, maybe it'll be this gangster guy who they fuck over. And he finds out, because he has abilities to get information, and he reveals it to the public, or I don't know. But, dude, if they're bringing Hayden Christensen back, I want to have that scene where he's talking to just her.
I think...
And he's like, my daughter, you know. And maybe that's when he says to her, like, maybe she doesn't understand that the Force has been helping her whole life. And, you know, she's been using it, but she doesn't quite know how to use it.
Maybe that's like how Rey was, too, because Rey, you know...
Right. And maybe that's like Anakin tells her that, like, no, you have the Force, too. And, you know, it's been helping you throughout your life. And that feeling that you get, that's the Force. You just, you know, you don't know how to use it yet, or whatever. Maybe that's how they send her off into the sunset. Somehow. Like, Anakin teaches her how to channel into some Force power, where she just doesn't die, she just becomes a ghost or something. I don't know. I really don't know how they're going to handle Leia. Because they've made it known she's not a 9.
Or maybe she just disappears, like,
and if you kill her, it's almost too soon, right?
Yeah, well, the way that John Boyega stated that what
like
they did, it sounded like it was a proverbial send her off into the sunset.
I mean, I don't mind if they...
Like going to hiding or something?
Like, maybe she...
done her task and now she wants to be by herself?
I don't know. I don't know how they do that. I think that's weird.
I think they're going to do what they did on Fast 8. She's going to pull up next to Vin Diesel, and then you're going to hear the song.
And it's the X-Wing just...
And is that how...
And then the back of the X-Wing is going to say Last Drive.
Is that how it ended?
That's how it's ended.
That's why I don't watch those fucking movies.
Then you're going to hear the song. And it's over.
I was talking to my friend out in California today. We were talking about Star Wars just briefly. And he's a fan, kind of, but not huge. And he said, blah, 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 7 sucked ass. And, you know, you hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people complain about 7. And I get it. I do.
7 wasn't the best.
I understand the complaints.
All right, let's clarify what we're talking about here. We're talking about Fast 7?
No,
sorry.
All right, I was gonna say.
I don't know
if you just say 7,
okay.
the people are gonna be like, okay, well, what are they talking about?
That's right. I guess.
No,
I guess there's another 7 out there. There shouldn't be. But.
I did have a lot of problems with Episode 7 being a Star Wars fan, as the corny punchlines and, you know, the rap cars.
I had more issue with it in the
Han
theater.
Solo dying.
I mean, we know a lot more now, 2 years later. The movie, like I said, I went back and watched it. You guys probably
I
haven't
saw it
watched it
3D.
recently. You haven't watched it recently, though, right?
No, not recently.
I went back and watched it recently, and it was better. Like it, and the only way I can
Getting you pumped up, man.
well, I mean, yeah, I did start watching it because I was starting to feel the fever again, but I really critiqued it. I went into it going, I'm gonna see if it really is that shitty, because I'm gonna see if I've heard a lot of people bitch about it. It's not shitty. There's parts, right? There's parts that are like, well, that's kind of lame.
But it's
Like
that-
Phasma as a character is fucking lame.
Yeah.
Like, why did you even bother bringing her in? Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a character so fucking misused. Ever in the history of movies. Like, you had this character that, remember when before 7 came out, and all we knew was that was a girl stormtrooper named Phasma, and she
And
was,
we were talking a lot about
yeah,
her,
we
too.
were like, dude, she looks bad.
It's like, why does she have a silver? We went into speculation about her fucking gear. That her gear was
And
part
they
of a
told
fucking
us
ship. And
nothing. I mean, literally, her screen time was like 30 seconds, and
Yeah.
she was a total fucking pussy.
she was a bitch.
I mean,
too.
yeah, her, Han Solo, and
Finn.
Rey was there too, I guess, right? No, it wasn't.
It was Finn, Chewie,
It was
and Han.
Chewie. And she just fucking gives over the whole fucking space station, the whole planet to them.
Yeah. And that's like that's I think that goes without saying with any other Star Wars movies. There's always that one like what the fuck, like Jar Jar Binks.
Right.
Ugh.
There's always
Jar Jar.
gonna be. Well, dude, it's a huge saga.
Or the Metachlorians, you
You
know.
can't tie everything together completely.
Or just young Anakin. Like I did watch Phantom Menace a couple days ago, and just watching that little bastard talk, I was just like,
she was a shitty actor.
it's like this fucking kid's growing up to be Darth Vader, the most powerful villain of all time.
No, he grew up to
cinematic.
be a meth head. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actual actor.
Jake, whatever the fuck his name was. You know why you never saw him in another movie? Well, first of all, because his performance sucked ass.
Yeah.
And secondly, probably because they basically
I don't even know that
they
kid.
shunned him out of Hollywood, and so he turned to meth.
Oh,
Well, that's what
man.
He got arrested for meth.
That's what Han
Sucks.
Solo was saying, though. He goes, these young actors that are playing these parts don't know what they're getting into for the rest of their life because these are them for the rest of their life. I am Han Solo. He's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He's not Mark Hamill.
Now
I'm
Ray
not-
is Ray
And-
forever.
Yeah, and Finn is Finn. You know, he's done 2 different movies already, but that goes with any big thing. Like, look at The Walking Dead. I look at The Walking Dead as a
Yeah.
fan,
Yeah.
and I see, you know, the Punisher, John Berthnall, I think his name is playing the Punisher, but I always see him as Shane. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's Shane. Hey, Shane or Han Solo.
But I think the difference with that is that there's certain actors where you can see him in multiple roles.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, look at Hugh Jackman. How many love movies he made before he made?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
a good
do you
example.
think of him as a fucking romantic
No.
type? No.
or he does a bunch of Broadway stuff.
De
He's
Niro
one.
comes to mind. De Niro's another one. That,
Yeah, De Niro. When you see him in a comedy, it's like
Do you automatically, when you see him, think Godfather? No. No, because he can pull off a romantic movie, a comedy, or he can ultimately play a gangster like nobody else.
yeah, he's a good adapt to the environment.
But you're right. Some actors are just fucking like. I tell you what, I don't know if I can watch a Christian Bale movie anymore.
Yeah, that's always Batman. And you know
Batman.
what's funny? That movie Psycho, he actually killed Jared Leto in that
Yeah,
movie.
I've seen that. I've seen
Really?
that
Yeah.
clip.
You see all that clip?
Yeah, I've seen the clip where Jared Leto plays one guy. It's American Psycho.
American Psycho, that's it.
Oh yeah, I've
Ameri-
seen that movie.
Right. That's Christian Bale killing Jared Leto.
That was a long time ago.
Comes up behind him with an axe and just
That's a great
he
movie.
starts dancing and shit and he chops him up. It's like, oh my god, dude.
That's a great movie, dude. That movie's trippy. The dude has this obsession with Huey Lewis in the news.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
that was
Because Huey Lewis is playing in the
Yeah,
background.
because he chopped him
Yeah,
up.
right before I think it's like that's kind of his calling card. Before he kills, he puts on Huey Lewis in the news.
Yep.
And that's who.
And I personally, I love the fuck out of Huey Lewis in the news. That's just an '80s, like I can't let go of it. It's not the best music, I admit
No,
that.
I think that's why
But when
it's-
it comes on,
Mm-hmm.
New York, I'm like, yeah, Huey Lewis. Yeah, that's a really fucking weird movie. That's the first movie I've ever seen him in. So now, like we're talking about, if I went back and watched that movie, I'm sure it would be like
Wasn't he in Shaft? The bad guy in Shaft too.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, like with.
I never saw.
I remember he was like a killer in one of the movies. It wasn't American Psycho. It was something else. But he always played like that crazy type person.
But I watched the movie The Boxer.
Mm-hmm. That was a good movie.
It was a real good movie. But I kept seeing Batman. I did and he had.
You're like, come on, do the voice.
Right.
Do the voice.
And he looked very different, but I kept seeing Batman.
And it's like what's his name? Captain America. You know, like he did a lot of movies before he was Captain. He even did.
Yeah, he was the Human
He's
Torch.
Cap now.
Or Tony Stark. You know, Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. did a lot of movies, but it wasn't until. And I think that's what it is.
Maybe that's the reason
movie.
he keeps making the movies, because he's like, fuck, I can't do any other movies.
These actors did so many movies, but then when they hit their main peak, like Michael Keaton will always be fucking the greatest ever Batman ever.
Word.
But, you know.
But I can watch Keaton and I don't really. I guess maybe I see Batman a little bit.
But see, you think Keaton. Now you're also going to think Vulture too now because of his performance.
Then we'll go to Beetlejuice.
Well, yeah. Then
I think about
Beetlejuice,
too.
Mr. Mom.
Multiplicity.
I actually love
Multiplicity.
Beetlejuice quite a bit. I've watched that movie a lot.
Beetlejuice tricked me out when I was a kid. My dad's like, that's the same guy that played Batman. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's Batman?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just one of those actors that can, like I said, adapt to any role. And I think that's what makes all these actors good. But Harrison Ford, he's always got that pirate smuggler attitude in all of his movies.
Yeah, he's virtually himself in every movie.
He's playing himself, or even Liam Neeson. Even.
You know who else is good in the same? Tom Hardy can adapt.
Yeah.
After playing Bane, don't you think you'd picture him as Bane every time you see him?
Or when you look at Clint Eastwood, what do you see? He's the same actor in every movie, just like Harrison Ford.
Right.
But without the mask and Bane, you'd see it's Bane. That's not.
I've seen Tom Hardy in a few movies after that, but I don't really picture Bane when I'm watching.
I don't either. And that little fucking Tobey Maguire bastard. That
See,
fucker, yeah.
He's Spider-Man to me too.
No,
I picture
that. I think that's what killed me about Spider-Man. I was a Spider-Man fan up until that little fucker came out wearing the suit. I hate that little fucker.
I know you do.
Then he did that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and what's their name? The one that played fucking.
I kind of remember that. I never saw it.
Yeah, and he was like the PTSD guy from Iraq, and
I never saw it.
Just
Jarhead or something.
Something like that. I don't fucking know what it is. It was just a horrible movie. Fuck Spider-Man, dude. Let's fuck Tobey Maguire.
Well, you know what? I'll bring out one more name that's interesting in this conversation. What the fuck is his name? Thanos.
Oh, Josh Brolin.
I see the older brother from the Goonies when I see him.
Oh yeah, God.
I watched the Goonies like maybe 2 months ago, and I brought it up to Jeremy. I was like, holy shit, he was in the fucking Goonies.
And he was Jonah Hex too.
Yeah, that's right. He was Jonah Hex with Megan Fox.
Yeah, he's pretty adaptable, dude. I was just last night, No Country for Old Men was on upstairs. And I stopped. We were really busy, but I stopped for 10 minutes to watch. That's a great fucking movie. And he's in the movie, and I'm like, watching it, and I'm like, wow, that's Thanos. I had to, look at him and try to picture Thanos. Yeah. And I was like, it's motherfucking Cable, too.
Well, it's like Schwarzenegger. He always does the same movies. I guess it depends what you're into as an actor itself.
Speaking of Schwarzenegger, I guess he's got either a new show or a new movie coming out. Is
the plane crash?
Oh, I don't know. Okay. But they said that it's basically The Office with Hitman in it.
Oh, what movie is it? I did see the previews to that, and I heard that same similarity. What is that? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't see the title of it. I just seen Schwarzenegger's looking at the camera he's gonna talk into the camera or something like that.
Speaking of Hitman, that movie, The Hitman's Bodyguard, with Ryan Reynolds and
Samuel Jackson.
That was pretty funny.
I was gonna tell you guys this, I never brought it up to you. Michael Keaton is what jarred this memory. I went and saw that Dark Tower.
Oh.
One of the previews before Dark Tower was this movie that I don't fucking remember the name of, but I was like, holy shit. Michael Keaton is in it, and he's one of the starring actors in it.
Is that bird fly?
No. Go on. I think I know what you're talking
An
about.
assassin,
American Assassin.
and it looks good.
It really does look good.
It looks really
Is
good.
it
Like,
like coming out soon or?
Yeah.
He's like training this young guy.
Yeah, if I looked at the
killer.
preview correctly, it's something. The main guy. It's supposed to be this guy. I don't know what the actor's name is, and Michael Keaton. But this guy, he's on a vacation with his girlfriend or something like that, and like these terrorists or something. It looks like they storm a beach or something. But something happens. His girlfriend dies or whatever. He's heard about it. He somehow meets up with this girl, or he meets up with Michael Keaton. This girl says, he's unbelievable. He's exactly what we've been looking for, and it shows like he's training to be this assassin and everything. And he's telling him, don't get emotionally involved,
Oh, dude,
and all
the
this
trailer
stuff.
I watched on the big screen I was like, yes, because I mean it's a lot of Keaton, and it's a lot of Keaton. Like, it looks like a good performance. It really does. Like, he's telling this kid, like, kid, I've seen the darkest in all men, and like he's going into this speech, and I'm like, oh, I want to see that. I want to see him be.
You're like, here's my money.
Right, take my money. I want to see him be this fucking elite killer.
So what do you think of when you see Jack Nicholson? Do you think of the Joker,
I
or do you
think-
think of The Shining?
Both.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think.
I would
things.
think, it'd be The Shining. It'd be Joker. It'd be A Few Good Men.
Yes.
I don't really picture that. That's Army Jack. I don't really picture that. I don't personally.
He comes off though.
Oh, it's a great performance.
Brilliantly.
It's a great performance.
There's
Just
always-
about everything he's in.
But then there's
He
there's
did The Departed.
there's yes, he was in The Departed. There was
yeah.
other ones where it was Anger Management
Yep.
with Adam Sandler.
Yeah. I like that movie.
About Schmidt, I think he was in that one too.
Yeah, he was another
You
one.
guys
that-
ever see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
No.
Oh yeah, he was in that one too.
You should watch it, man. It's fucking great. It's one of those movies that, like, I heard a lot about Oscar buzz and stuff before our time. It was from the 70s. But it was kind of the movie that put him on the charts. And basically, it's really good, man. If you like Jack Nicholson, like Crazy Jack, that's what it is. It's Crazy Jack, because he's in a mental ward, and he's crazy, but he's like the least crazy of all the people around him.
I
And
think I did see
and he's
that.
like fucking like
It's like late 70s,
yeah,
early 80s.
yeah.
Okay.
And he's like going fucking crazier, being locked up with all these cuckoo people. But I won't spoil it for the ending or nothing. But it's a real good ending, good movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of actors that you can just say a name and I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. But it's thousands of movies, but that one movie always sticks out.
Mm-hmm.
Like DiCaprio, Titanic. Yeah, just saying.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Jack.
It's funny you bring up DiCaprio.
I got ESP, bro. I knew where you were going.
What the fuck does Leo have to do with this?
He's playing
because
Superman
because movie news. The Joker movie,
yes.
the Scorsese movie.
Yes, dude.
Warner Brothers wants Leonardo DiCaprio to play the Joker character.
Drop the mic, dude. That's
Holy shit!
They're gonna try to use Scorsese to get
That's
Leo to get onto this
Yeah, 'cause
project.
they did
He loves
The Departed.
Scorsese.
They did The
He did a
Departed
couple
together.
movies.
Yeah.
He had that, The Island? What is it called?
Shutter Island?
Shutter Island. That's a
That was Scorsese too. Okay.
Dude, oh my god, can you picture that?
Whoa! I can. Fucking, I'll suck that dude's dick in a heartbeat.
DiCaprio?
Hell yes! Hell
Please do the
yes!
movie. Oh!
Dude, he's the fucking man. Every movie I've seen him in since growing up, he just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, because that's going to be a 1980s.
He's a fucking great. He might honestly, dude. There's a lot of good actors we've seen growing up, but like our age, and I know I'm a little bit older than you guys, but from our age demographic, he might go down years from now when he's dead and gone as the greatest actor of our time. Seriously,
Of our time, probably.
of our time. He's just in a lot. If you go down his fucking movie list,
But he's one guy that can play any part. And I'm not trying to be fucking fruity or anything, but Brad Pitt's another one, dude. Brad Pitt.
I would love to see Leo do the Joker. Oh my god, take my money.
Dude, that would be sweet. That would be sweet.
I wouldn't talk shit about that. You don't tell me shit else. He's the Joker. I'm in.
Dude, I think
What?
that
It's
would-
on Mars? I don't care.
Dude, you picture that you have DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Jared Leto, and
Holy shit!
the
What
other
if they
two?
did bring Nicholson into it?
that would be cool.
With the whole Joker vibe?
And those
I
two
mean, he
are
doesn't have
really-
to play the Joker.
just have them in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jared Leto's not going to be in it.
Yeah, he's not gonna be.
thank God, because
I agree.
1980s.
I agree, thank God.
Fucking, I get tired of Jared Leto, and now all these video games that have the Joker in it, they're basing all that shit off of the Jared Leto Joker. It's not like
Well,
our
for
Joker.
continuity
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's all
all that stuff.
Jared Leto, young, stupid looking, no eyebrow. Fucking.
It's not Star Wars, but we already drifted. I'll bring this up because you weren't here last week, and it was totally like aimed towards you. I just lost my train of thought. What the fuck were we just
probably
talking
wasn't
about?
Okay,
good.
so okay,
DC. We were
Right.
talking about
Joker, Batman.
the Joker. Okay, so remember we were talking about like this lends a little bit of credibility to maybe what Ralph's big theory about the Joker was.
His name?
It's Jason Todd. It's not.
It's
the original Joker.
It's not the original Joker. It's Robin.
yeah.
You're into that theory.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so they're doing this spin-off movie, and it's going to be a different Joker. It's not Jared Leto. It's a different guy playing the Joker.
When is this?
It's the spin-off movie. they're
Oh,
doing.
in the 80s?
Yeah, the Scorsese movie,
Okay.
right? And it's set in the 80s, so obviously you can't use Jared Leto unless you're going to use somebody younger as this is Jared Leto's Joker.
So what about Batman?
I don't know. We talked about that. Like, there's got to be Batman in it, right? You can't tell a Joker
I
story.
think Batman would have to be active at around this time. You
Oh,
would
yeah.
think.
Unless is this a origins like growing up?
Because '89 Batman was around doing shit.
I don't know if you can tell a Joker story without Batman.
and I don't know. I mean, can you do two
That was maybe
Jokers?
part of the problem with Suicide Squad and why he felt so fucking weird in
Yeah.
that movie because he was just a romantic interest.
But is Batman's new arch enemy still the Joker in our era, or is
Well-
it Bane? Or
Well, for now, unless it,
I mean, he really doesn't have anything.
That might change in the future, but right now I'd say yes, because that's pretty established canon. But we were talking about like, what if they're going back to the '80s? Comic I read back in the '80s, A Death in the Family.
Mm-hmm. Damon or Jason Todd.
Jason Todd, who ends up becoming
Red Hood.
the
Joker.
fake Joker or whatever you want to call him. So we see the suit in Batman vs Superman, which kind of spawns this theory of it's not Jared Leto is not the real Joker, he's Jason Todd. And you see, like, there's bullet holes and shit on the suit, and it says Joker was here. So I know from that comic that he tortured him, but he also wrote, it was either on the walls or on him, Joker was here.
Yeah.
And
Beat the hell out of him with the crowbar.
right, and so when you see that suit, you do kind of think, like, that's Jason Todd, right? What if they're doing this 80s movie to tie that all in and to prove that this isn't really the real Joker? That it's Jason
Yeah.
Todd.
The timeline would be
The
perfect.
timeline fits.
But then what about Batman, though? Because Batman would have to be like...
You'd have to somehow do a young version of the Ben Affleck Batman, right? Because Ben Affleck, part of he's tortured and angry and whatever because
that
of the
makes-
shit
that
he's
makes
seen.
sense.
And when he's like pissed off and he's in the Batcave and he looks over and he sees that suit, and he just kind of looks at it for a second, like this is part of why I am who I am. Is the impression you get.
But would the timeline and age match up, though? I mean, it's 2017,
Just
1980s, whatever. 30 years of being Batman.
He's like a 40-something year old Batman right now. He's like early 40s.
So 30 years ago. You'd only be
Yeah.
like 12 or
Something
something.
like a
Yeah.
teenager.
Yeah, that might be a little hard.
I heard that the Scorsese or Joker wasn't going to be
Well,
DC.
yeah, they said
It's
that this
DC,
well,
but
they said that this movie was going to be less of a DC film and more of like a Scorsese crime movie. Even though it's set in the DC universe, it's not going to follow pretty much the same format as a
So it's gotta
DC
have,
film.
It's got to have Commissioner Gordon in it.
Isn't that really odd when you think about it?
Would
Like,
would he be commissioner or would he be?
No,
No,
he
he
wouldn't
would
be.
still be.
Yeah, it'd be.
He'd be new on the police force, right? He'd be
Officer.
detective.
Might be a detective or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Yeah.
Detective Gordon.
Dude, I still think that
Gotham.
you should do the old man Batman and throw
When-
Michael Keaton as the old man Batman.
When Batman first meets Jim Gordon, he's a detective
Yeah.
from the comics.
Which we will see
Go ahead.
coming up here
Go
pretty
ahead.
soon.
I got one.
I think that this Joker movie with Jared Leto, it's not good. I don't dig the whole this Joker. Now maybe I think Harley Quinn is perfect, but she would have been even better with the Heath Ledger Joker.
So they're not doing the Sirens movie anymore, right?
Yeah, they scrapped the Sirens movie.
But
Sirens movie.
The Gotham City Sirens.
There's gonna be a Gotham City Sirens, which is basically like a
Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and
could have been hot,
Could have been.
but not nowadays. They don't let chicks be hot.
Harley.
Mm,
That's what it would have been.
that would be cool.
So now they're not doing that, at least not now. Maybe later, but instead, there's another Joker movie, Joker and Harley,
Yep.
which I'm like,
And then they still got Suicide Squad 2.
Which I guess they said is not going to be out for a while.
Suicide Squad 2.
See, that's the problem with DC. They're not organized.
I
They're
know.
all over the
Well-
place, making 10,000 different Jokers and
Well,
fucking everything else.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be around for a little bit because Will Smith's going to be doing the Aladdin movie.
Oh, that's gonna be cool. Fresh Prince of Bel
I
Air
don't know.
riding a fucking.
No, he's the
No, he's the genie.
yeah.
Poor Robin
That's why I
Williams.
rolled my eyes. Like,
Robin Williams alone.
I'm like, oh my god.
I could just picture out like a fucking ghetto ass genie.
Be like Shazam or whatever.
Oh
Bam!
god, dude.
Get your black ass over here.
You ain't hitting that shit with Desmond? I said, I'll hit that shit.
I'll give him genie dick.
What's wrong with you, nigga? What was I gonna say before you took my mind to Will Smith
Dude,
as
if
the
they
genie?
do a Scorsese,
Oh, where did you hear this? The Leonardo. What's your
yeah,
what's your source?
It was I want to say Comic Book Resources on Facebook
pretty legit.
or something like that. I mean, when I read it, it was fresh like 4 hours. This was like at
I
4
don't
o'clock.
doubt Leo on anything.
Like a dark Departed movie, like
Yeah.
The Departed, but like get shot in the fucking head and all.
that totally gets me psyched.
Show him his dad and what kind of person his parents were and shit. And his name is actually Jack Napier. They stuck that to him. That's his name now, Jack Napier.
One in the comic,
In the comics, that's his official name.
right? I know they announced it. They're
Mhm.
making a Jack Napier comic,
Yeah,
but do we know that
I
is?
think that's going to be the Joker's legit name now. Is Jack Napier?
Is Jack Napier.
I think they're keeping it.
We'll
Which
have,
worked
we'll have
perfect.
to see. We'll have to see what Scorsese's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for sure the Joker comic that they're coming out with, they are taking Nicholson's character's name,
I heard.
Jack Napier.
I'm just throwing it out there. I also heard a candidate was Christian Bale
For the Joker?
Scorsese movie.
For the Joker?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I heard
Wouldn't that
that.
be weird if he played
Facebook-
Batman and the
Facebook
Joker?
only. And he killed both of them. I don't know.
Dude,
I'm just going.
I don't know if I can watch Batman play the Joker.
I know it's they want to go with a younger character. I still want to see William Dafoe as the Joker, dude.
I know. He's got that face.
Oh
the
my
smile, the
god.
It
long.
won't happen in this one. Though.
No,
But
I'm not saying in this one, but I
Yeah.
still want to see him
Yeah.
as a Joker.
I agree.
Or I want to see Mark Hamill as a Joker.
And I know Leo's got the baby face, but is he too old for that part?
Dude, he could do anything, dude. Look at him and fucking. He could play any fucking part. He's got that face that he can look like he's 12 years old.
Not really, because if they show him turning into the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
where however they're going to do it, whether they have him fall into a vat of chemicals or whatever.
Well, Jack Napier wasn't in his 20s. He was an older guy.
Right, but I'm saying
They went off to the 60s Joker with him, I think.
Oh, I don't really know. And did they have an origin story for him?
No, but I'm just saying, like, his age.
Oh, yeah, older.
Older.
But I mean, that we keep thinking origin story like they're going to show the Joker when he's young. But
Well, I'm sure they're going to have like a
maybe
younger one, and then they'll probably eventually go up to Leo.
When he turns, yeah.
And then Leo would be the quote-unquote present. And then they might show him becoming the Joker. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how he looks if they're going that far.
Right.
He may not turn into a Joker until the end of the
Till the
movie.
very end.
This is the third. Yeah, that would be cool. And they pick up with Batman taking on the case and shit and following him. Let him,
That way you don't have to have Batman.
You don't have to have Batman in there. You can pick it up
That's
okay,
like
you know Batman. Put like the last words in the fucking movie.
Or the last thing you see was the bat signal.
The bat signal, exactly. Just like how the Easter egg was in Batman Begins.
And you have the 89 Batman music playing in the background. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
This means we got 3 Jokers in one timeline. Or not one timeline, but different. We got Gotham Joker, Jared Leto Joker, and Scorsese Joker.
Now you're getting me working now. They could do a multiverse movie, and you can have several different Jokers. So you can have the Jared Leto Joker. You can have a CGI Heath Ledger Joker.
Wait a minute. Who was the Joker in Flashpoint?
Mark Hamill. Was it Mark Hamill?
Didn't he change? Didn't they show the Joker?
The Flashpoint was Batman's mom.
Right.
That's right.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like,
so they're planning on doing a Flashpoint movie.
They plan on doing a Flashpoint movie too.
Female Joker
I think we have to.
Yeah, I think so.
They better keep
if what's his name is going to be Jeffrey Dean Morgan is going to become Thomas Wayne,
and then the mom,
and then
Maggie from The Walking Dead, which she would be fucking perfect for her, dude.
That could be cool.
You know what she looks like, right?
Yeah, I love Maggie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I like Maggie. Yes.
Yeah, that would be fucking perfect.
I fell in love with Maggie the first time I ever saw her on Walking Dead. I've seen the first 3 seasons and then I lost Netflix.
Maggie and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, that would be sweet.
What was I gonna say? Oh, this kind of ties into Star Wars. Did I ever tell you guys who I thought they
Can
should?
you picture Scorsese doing a fucking Flashpoint movie with Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Just throwing that out there.
I know, right? I've had that thought actually.
That would be pretty cool.
Did I ever tell you guys who I thought after I watched episode 1? I walked out of the theater talking like about the movie, and I was like, dude. I turned to my friend Adam. I said, dude, you know who they need to have play Anakin in the next movie? He's like, who? I'm like, Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Leo DiCaprio. Look at that little kid. He's perfect for it. And, of course, it wasn't. It was Hayden Christensen, and I was very disappointed because I was like, who the fuck is this? But
he just got off Titanic.
But here's a weird connection. Not too long ago, like a couple of years ago, after George had sold it all, somebody said to him something about, like, if you didn't have Hayden doing it, you know, not saying you picked the wrong guy, but if you didn't have Hayden do it, who would you have had do it? Who would have been top? And he said Leonardo DiCaprio, and I was like, bitch, you missed it! You missed your mark! It was perfect.
But would that be still? Would you still?
Maybe he had Leo in mind when he made the first one. That little kid, if you go back and watch it, he looks like a young Leo DiCaprio.
But see, DiCaprio was already a big star at that time. The Star Wars thing, they always pick like these.
It was about
99.
5 years after Titanic, so he was huge at that point.
Yeah, it was like 2004.
It was probably, maybe George even approached him. Who knows? Maybe he was like, I got all these other movies.
I just don't see any big actors ever playing a Star Wars part. You know, they get started with Star Wars, and then, you know, now they're finishing with Star Wars, but...
I just can't wait to see Mark Hamill as Luke again. I was thinking about that. I was studying the picture last night, just looking at it. Just foaming at the mouth.
Because if you think about this, it's been what?
83, bitch. 83 was the last time we saw Luke Skywalker.
Right. So,
I mean, we see him just briefly at 7, but
what?
33 years ago.
34 years ago.
34 years ago.
34 years since you've seen Luke. And I was like looking at that picture of him, and it's hard to see through all the fucking hair and facial and beard and stuff. It's there, man. If you picture Return of the Jedi Luke and that kind of like serious look he has on his face, and then look at that picture they just released and kind of like see through the beard and shit, it's like, oh, there's Luke. Luke, yeah.
That would be fucking, that's cool.
Yeah, dude, I mean, it's been forever since we've had Mark Hamill back as Luke. I can't wait.
Do you think that's why Mark Hamill was never really into any big movies? He always did voice overrides because people would see him as Luke Skywalker and wouldn't take him serious?
Well,
I mean, he did do like low budget movies like that. What is it? The Sushi Girl.
yeah, the Sushi Girl.
He
I
had
still haven't seen.
a couple cameos in like Jay and Silent Bob and shit, didn't he?
But he has said before he loves voice acting best.
Well, I think that's what, I mean, besides Luke Skywalker, that's his best dude right there. The Joker.
Dude, one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to in my life. You guys, if you want to be entertained for 2 hours, go on. Kevin Smith does a podcast called Fat Man on Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while he would have guests on. Well, this was several years ago. It's an older podcast, but I heard it. He had Mark Hamill on.
Oh,
And Mark Hamill and him talked for over 2 hours. And dude, it's just... Mark Hamill is so fucking entertaining. He's really captivating the way he speaks. You can tell he's a really good voice actor because the guy can talk. He can tell some stories, man. I mean, he was going into stories about the Joker, like episodes of the Batman animated series. Mm-hmm. But then they also talk Star Wars a little bit, and they talk about like what he thought like was the future of Luke. And it'd be interesting for me to hear it now, because I haven't heard it in 4 or 5 years. And when I was listening to it, there was no idea in my head that we would ever see Luke Skywalker again. I remember, though, and I might have told you guys this, I saw this video. There's a video out there online. It's not very long. It's a couple minutes long, of Mark Hamill, like, in the 80s. It's very 80s. Got, like, an 80s cardigan sweater on. And he's, like, on Good Morning America, and he's talking about something. And then, of course, they ask him about Star Wars. And they says something. The lady says something to him like, "Would you ever?" You know, and he goes, "Well, it's kind of like it's a thing of the past now, and I really don't think George was like, we'll see." He's like, "I will say, I do remember this one conversation I had with George, and he like either called him or approached him or something and said, hey." I think it was actually on the set, like when they were almost done filming Jedi, and he was like, "So how do you feel about doing this role again?" And Mark's like, "Well, I thought this was kind of like the end. What do you mean?" And he's like, No, there's 3 more. There's 3 more, but..." And Mark Hamill was like, "Oh," and he was like, "But it would be somewhere around 2000, 2004, or somewhere in that area." Like, and he's talking about this like in 1985.
Yeah, he had all this bullshit planned out.
Yeah, so when people think like, "Oh, he didn't fucking know what he was doing," George had a vision of what Luke Skywalker was gonna do, and I'm sure it's very different. I think. Maybe not. Maybe they are listening to George. I don't know.
I don't think they are, dude.
I don't think they are either, because just Mark's comments about like he was really at odds at first with the direction there.
So him selling it to Disney, good idea or bad idea for the movies?
So far
it's been a good idea.
I mean, we've got Rogue One.
We're spoiled right now. Think about it.
We got fucking Solo movies coming out.
This is a new golden age for Star Wars.
It is. We're living in the heyday of Star. Dude, they're bringing Star Wars land, not to our front doors, but it's coming.
Yeah, Star Wars.
I will get there one day. I will. I promise you.
So
maybe the 3 of us will go somehow, some way, but...
So we got Marvel, DC, and Star Wars kicking ass right now.
All kicking ass.
So what's going to happen in like 10 years?
Well, if you listen to Spielberg, it's all...
We're back to Ben Affleck Daredevils.
Yeah, it's all going to be dead in 10 more years, is what Spielberg said. But it doesn't seem like it's not slowing down at all. Especially Star Wars... Like, they haven't said anything about, like, well, we're going to do this many movies and then that's it.
Mm-mm. They got so much shit.
Gonna crank that out
every year. You know what I was actually thinking about, guys? Next year's going to be, I think it's going to be really kind of disappointing, because next year we get Han Solo in May, beginning of May. And then the rest of the year, there's nothing to look forward to. Star Wars,
now you have to go superheroes next year.
We get one Star Wars movie a year for now until they start changing that.
Right, because Episode 9 is not to 2019.
The following year, yeah.
I think May of 2019, I want to say, too. Which
Yeah,
is,
it is in May.
too.
Because it's not in December. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Well, that's better for us because
It's
a
not
year
a
and
full
half
2
or a year and
years.
right.
That we have to wait. It's more of a year and a half. So.
Right. But yeah, we're gonna watch Han Solo. However we feel about that movie, we're gonna walk out and go, "Fuck, there's nothing in December now. Back to Christmas."
That's what we did when we came out of Rogue One.
Yeah, but I mean,
until
Rogue
they
One
start
was in December.
Yeah, it was.
So there was
Still had a year.
we had all year to look for. We've been in this process of looking forward
For
to
the
the,
last
to
2
the end of the year.
And they're gonna start eking out like, oh, episode 9 is about here, but hey, check out this Obi-Wan movie we got coming
well,
out.
Obi-Wan is saying 2020 tentatively,
Right.
so that's the following year after 9.
You know, and depending on what the Han Solo movie does.
If it's gonna be a trilogy or something.
Well, I mean, if it's gonna be good or not.
Oh yeah.
Because
I
if
think
it's
that's
not,
gonna
then
make
they may
Slow
still
down.
they may slow down or they may tweak what they do for like Obi-Wan or for whatever other
With the
spin-off
Obi-Wan
that they're
movie,
gonna do.
They could still use... What's his name?
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want them to. If they don't use Ewan McGregor, I'd be upset. I really would, because he, Alec Guinness is Obi-Wan. So is Ewan McGregor, though. I've heard people saying, well, they could use the guy that they used for the Clone Wars. I have no idea what he looks like. Now he knows the voice pretty well, but he's more of a voice actor. I think he doesn't really do.
Yeah, I don't think he's. Yeah.
I think we should just fucking buy our
I-
time and just enjoy whatever comes our way.
We should absolutely.
Because
man.
we were at a 30-year slump, man.
Honestly,
I mean, besides the prequels, but I mean...
I remember feeling like utterly depressed when I walked out of the theater episode 3. I mean, I'm just like,
that was it.
man, that was really good, but fuck, it's over. It's all over.
Mhm.
I mean, I really was convinced. I mean, even George said that back then. I'm not doing it anymore.
I was like
He said,
heartbroken
that's it. This is it.
when I saw episode 1. Besides Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, I was like, this movie really wasn't the best fucking... I mean, everyone was hyped up, sleeping out in the fucking tent for 2 weeks before the movie came out, and...
See, I think I was in complete denial until Attack of the Clones, which I do not like that movie much at all, really. One, again, Jar Jar, ugh. But one has its moments. One has its moments of, especially the ending is fucking awesome.
I just think that the whole fucking little baby fucking Darth Vader was just stupid, man. The little kid. I just hated that.
I just think, I don't understand why he didn't use flashbacks. And I know it wasn't really a Star Wars thing, but maybe he cut off his own hand. No pun intended.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
That just came out. Maybe he cut off his own hand by saying, well, we don't do that in Star Wars. Because really, I think it could have been a better story if you would have shown us, bits and pieces of who Anakin was.
Yeah.
We didn't need a whole movie of him at 9 years old.
The whole movie was him pod racing.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we know, okay, we could go with him being a slave, and then we could figure something else out besides the pod racing. And
You could have spent 15 minutes of showing the kid, you discover him on this planet and show him pod racing, and you find his midichlorian rate or whatever, and then boom, you fast forward to he's Jedi trained. We never even got to really see him train.
No, we don't know how he got his scar.
No, because the next time we see him in episode 2, he's...
That's another fucking thing they skipped right over. Ventress gave him that scar, and
Yeah.
Asajj Ventress was a badass character.
And even though not a lot of people agree with her, but we could have had more Ahsoka in there, and we could have had more Clone Wars cartoon in the movies, which would have made more sense and introduced a lot more fucking characters.
You guys know who Asajj Ventress is?
Sounds familiar.
So she was a big character in the Clone Wars animated series, but she was where was she? I guess she wasn't Palpatine's apprentice, but she was a Sith. But she
Wasn't she his apprentice?
Vader's?
Yeah, and then he kept her quiet.
Maybe but she was a chick, bald-headed chick, real pale.
White with black eyes.
Yeah, had dark,
Mhm.
almost vampire looking, and she had a fucking whip, a lightsaber whip.
That would be kind of cool to see in the movie.
Yeah, and so she gave him the scar on his eye, and we never get to see that. We probably never will.
No, probably not.
So I mean, yeah, there was. When I look back at the prequels, I think, man, those movies could have used flashbacks. You know, the Clone Wars, like I don't know. I just really have issues with 2.
That was really bad when they got married and shit. That was bad. If I had the choice, I would make him more of like kind of like a badass more than a pansy. Like, I don't like sand and all this, this little baby drama bullshit.
Dialogue.
You got Vader, dude, the most villainous person, and then you got this fucking kid. It's like, thank God he did fucking fall in that pit of fire.
Yeah, because he was a little bitch.
Yeah, because imagine that little fucker trying to rule the universe. Yeah, we're not going over there. It's too far. My mom's dead. Shut the fuck up.
Do what I told you to do. Just do it.
Just do it, alright? I don't like sand.
I'll cut you in half. Oh God. Oh God.
Hell, I think fucking Dark Helmet was a lot more scarier than Anakin Skywalker was.
Dark Helmet. Good pull.
Love it.
Yeah, I guess we should just talk a little bit about the spin-off movies, and then we'll wrap it up for the week. But
well, just actually before we get into that, they also released Snoke's flagship. That's going to be in episode 8.
Like a ship?
Yeah, like his flagship.
Oh.
His Cadillac.
Oh my God, dude. This thing looks epic. Okay, so this thing is listed as a mega class Star Destroyer.
Whoa.
Right, so you're thinking, yeah, pretty badass just on that alone.
Making up
Okay, so his mega class Star Destroyer measures out to about 60 kilometers, or roughly a little more than 37 miles long.
Is that bigger than the black Kyber crystal?
37 miles
37
long.
miles long.
That's just stupid, dude.
It reminds me of the opening of episode 4.
It reminds me of Spaceballs.
Spaceballs!
Oh,
I was
yeah,
just going to
yeah,
say
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Just kept going and going and going and
45
going.
minutes of the ship just making it drink.
And it turns into a maid that sucks everything
Right. We call her Mega Maid.
Mega Maid. She sucks.
So to give you some perspective, Kylo's flagship in Episode 7 was 3 kilometers long, or roughly almost about 2 miles long.
Okay.
Wow.
How are you going to get to point A to point B? I go to the bathroom. Fuck.
It's on the other side of the ship. Oh, shit. The Super Star Destroyer from... or the one that Vader's flagship was 19 kilometers long, or about 12 miles long.
Wow.
So this thing is fucking massive,
Almost triple Vader.
and it's actually a new design too. It's actually more in the shape of like the B-2 stealth bomber. So it's not your traditional Star Destroyer. It's just like it's like a giant triangle is what it is. Not only that, but it can house Star Destroyers. Star Destroyers can dock with this thing.
Wow.
Repair them and build new ships.
Wow.
37 miles. That's like from exit 1 to exit Waterville, dude. That's your ship.
Wow.
That's rad. That's right.
New Buffalo.
It's pretty much, yeah. So this thing, yeah. So and supposedly the end of episode 8 is supposed to take place on this ship. So we don't know what kind of a role this thing has. This is actually supposed to be like the central command for the naval fleet of the First Order. And his Praetorian Guard, or his Royal Guard, whatever they're called, is going to be with him on this ship. So, but that looks the Resistance does not stand a fucking chance against this thing alone.
I'm still like, I want to see some Resistance ships. You know, we haven't seen
The Resistance was pretty badass when they came in out of the blue. You know, and they're like fucking 3 feet above the water, and they're just.
Oh, you mean the X-wings?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the X-wings. Yeah.
But I mean, we haven't really seen any like bigger ships.
No, this is the biggest ship.
No, I mean from the
Oh no. No.
We haven't seen
Because a lot of their fleet, I think, got destroyed too after Starkiller Base launched their attack.
Makes sense if Hosnian Prime.
If Hosnian Prime, if their orbital space yards in there and all that stuff, a lot of that was decimated.
Maybe that's part of like why the First Order starts kicking ass is because they don't have any sort of army now.
That just makes you wonder how the First Order had to have been around before Kylo Ren took off, because they're making all these fucking ships that are 37 feet long. 37 miles long.
Well, that goes to the point of him being like this Snoke being super wealthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And coveting power and wealth. He could have just been building his army in secret.
Right, secretly.
And then waited for the moment, and then here comes the First Order out of the uncharted regions of space.
Can you picture that fucker at the opening scene, 37 miles, like, alright bro, we get it.
It's big. Got it.
We're making up for something. We got it, dude. Your wife's not happy.
So you got more on it?
I didn't get it written down, but another size comparison is the Death Star was listed at, I want to say, 170 kilometers diameter. So compare that to Snoke ship of 60 kilometers. That is pretty fucking massive.
Almost a third.
So they're saying that this thing could be classified as a super weapon more than a starship.
Yeah.
Because of the sheer size of this thing.
Yeah, because we were kind of talking about that today. Like, well, what's the next super weapon?
Yeah.
Don't they always have a super weapon?
Yeah, because they destroyed the other one
right.
with the fucking base.
But Ralph was out and about today for Force Friday. Tell us what you saw. Tell them about I think the most interesting one is the Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I don't know. It said Last Jedi on the box, I believe, but it had a Force ghost of old Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's a Force ghost figure. I don't know if it's relevant to the Last Jedi or.
Well, I mean, if they had the packaging,
yeah, it was on.
You would figure it'd have to be. So
there.
Possible spoiler, but we could have old Obi-Wan Kenobi
Which
in Episode 8.
Set up for Kenobi, the movie, Obi-Wan or whatever the fuck it's called.
Right. And also Kylo Ren,
not wearing a helmet.
Not a helmet found anywhere.
Not a helmet. Usually at this time last year, you'd be seeing his helmets on the shelves to buy and shit. You don't see shit. All you see is Stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah.
So maybe he did take his dad's advice and say, I don't really need this. Or maybe he got blown up in the fucking, or whatever, but. And then his cape is bluish, kind of. Like a tint of blue. Dark blue. Luke Skywalker's not
wearing. Is it Vader's cape? Does it look like Vader's cape?
No, it's more like...
It's Lando's. It's Lando's cape.
What the fuck was I going to say? What the fuck? I was going to say something that was really good, but I forgot what I was going to say. Paige and Rose.
Oh, yeah.
New character.
New character, which I don't know anything about this Paige. But
I did their sisters. They got that Oriental look to them.
I did know about Rose, who's going to kind of be like a sidekick to Finn. She's some Asian chick that's playing in it, but apparently there's two Asian chicks.
And Luke Skywalker's not rocking your traditional Obi-Wan robe with the sleeves. It's just a cape with hood.
What color is it? Brown?
Light tan. His gear's all light tan. Light beige. And Rey's got the dark style. Like the dark gray. Yeah.
Has she got the staff in the toys?
She has her staff, but, honestly, I didn't even really notice on her. I just was looking for, like, the newer faces and newer figures, but they did not have any Luke Skywalkers with lightsabers that I saw. So maybe she has. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want it, or maybe he doesn't need it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he does have a hook on his belt. Like where would one be at?
Yeah, they're saying when I was getting the information about Snoke and stuff, it did say that Luke was following the same path as Snoke. Meaning He's not gonna have a lightsaber. He fights using the Force.
The Schwartz,
Like-
man.
Wow.
Like, I don't know if he's gonna have a ring, but he doesn't. But he's not gonna use a lightsaber. He fights purely with the Force and with his mind.
I don't know if I like
Dude,
that.
That's like taking away. That's like
If
taking
he
away.
if he goes toe to toe with Snoke, as powerful as Snoke is, and he can hold his own, then that gives you a good insight on how powerful he has become since Episode 6.
Oh, dude, he is fucking beyond Episode 6.
Yeah.
That whiny little.
Because we don't
20-year-old
know the scale of his power
We don't know.
from Episode 6.
We don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, doing handstands in the swamp with Yoda to now, I mean, that motherfucker's a beast.
I just don't know. Like, I want to see that green light. I've said this before. Even if it's just for like 30 seconds.
You can't take away a lightsaber in Star Wars. It's like taking away cheese on fucking pizza, bro.
I mean, if you take it away, you gotta explain why. You gotta explain that. Like,
And I'm sure he will.
if there's no lightsaber, then he needs to like have this conversation with Rey or something about.
It could be symbolic.
yes,
The lightsaber
Jedi.
being a symbol of the Jedi. I don't need that.
That's a pretty good point,
Yeah,
Nate.
but-
I actually just thought of that. I was like, because if you think of the Jedi, what would be the symbol of the Jedi? Their lightsaber.
Right, and that's maybe why she hasn't built her own.
And that's why her
So
his
he's
face
like,
expression was like,
If he figures out that the Jedi have it all wrong, he's like, I don't need that.
But come on, if they got one thing right, they got the lightsaber right.
Obi-Wan said that.
Oh, come on, pull it out, you son of a bitch!
It is the Jedi's thing, and that's why he probably looked at Rey
Master
like, you
Luke,
don't
is
need
that a lightsaber in your pants, or?
You just happen to see me.
It's
No,
not-
it's a lightsaber.
It's not really? Oh.
You know, I thought I was in for a treat.
Yeah, I mean, fuck yeah, I'm all for him having a massive force powers, but I just love that lightsaber. It's my fave. It's
So
my
is Force
fave.
lightning considered dark side?
I'd like to see that. I,
What
really
if
I
you
think it's
right now it's considered dark.
it's right side. It's considered dark side, but I mean, if he's going down the gray Jedi path,
That means you
That's-
accept some.
you
dark
can
side.
set some dark side and some light side and find the balance within the Force, the true balance.
What do you see when you see Luke, Nate? Like right now, pictures of him. What do you see? Do you see a good guy or do you see a bad guy? Sith?
You mean
I-
the current picture?
Yeah,
In the current
old
pictures?
Yeah, what do you see of this guy?
I see somebody that has kind of gone to the middle.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he was trained as a Jedi, you know, and he believed the Jedi and everything, but maybe he saw a pattern.
Yeah.
And it could have been with the failure of Kylo Ren. He's like, why is this not working? Why is this continuously failure? And then he goes out and figures out that maybe in that book that we've seen in the trailers, that the Jedi have had it all wrong. That whatever's in that book is the true Jedi way, and maybe the true Jedi way is also embracing the light and the dark.
So that Bible's kind of like a symbolic to like the Holy Bible.
So I have to tell you guys this. I saw a picture from, I don't know where exactly it was from, but it's from the movie, from 8. And it was a scene, a set picture. And I saw the tree.
Yeah.
And I've heard them talk about this Force tree.
And that Force tree is with Rey in the fucking ship she lives in.
What do you mean? Oh, the little plant thing?
Yeah, that symbolizes.
Maybe that's not the Force tree.
You don't think so?
No, I saw a picture and it was like, it was almost like somebody snuck a picture, to be honest.
Okay.
Like somebody was flying near the island or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
could have
and took a
been.
picture. Because it's like from up above and it's far away. But you see some, like, there's some interesting shit on this island. Like, you see little huts and stuff. It's not just a bunch of rocks. There's shit there.
What if that's the
Other
first
than
Jedi
other
temple?
than porkies or porkleys or whatever the fuck.
Okay,
they're called.
yeah.
What
So
are
they
those
have
things?
porgs. They have porgs, and I guess they have
There's lizard people.
caretakers. They're called
Yeah.
the caretakers.
They look fucking cool. They look like lizards with nun outfits.
Yeah, they're like lizard nuns,
Oh, reptilians.
and
they're-
they take care of this Jedi temple that I guess apparently Luke has just made himself at home at.
Right, and I heard
And
they don't really like him.
They put up with him.
Right.
by trespassing on their holy ground or whatever.
But this picture I saw, in the middle of the picture is this like big, it's like very fat tree. It almost looks like a bush or a shrub, but...
Are we sure it's part of the movie, or is it just like a big old apple tree that just happens to be on the island?
No, because there's not really many trees on the island. And it's very much like your attention is drawn right to it. And when you look at it, you see, remember in the trailer, the books, and they're inside of something. They're inside of that tree.
So
That's where they're kept. I don't know what significance the tree has, but when you look at this picture...
Is it a massive tree?
Pretty big.
is it like a?
But like I
Is it
said,
massive around? Because
It's very thick around, yes, the trunk.
because it looks like you go inside the tree and it's like...
I'm not going to say like sequoia size, but it looks like you could walk into it.
So
Yeah.
is this temple that he's living in now? That's the first Jedi temple.
We're
I'm
assuming.
not- Right, we've
What
heard.
What if he found this Jedi book, and it's totally against everything he was told?
I kind of think that's what's happening.
Think of it like he's
That
find,
would-
the Bible, okay? And you
And
find
they
the
didn't have
original,
lightsabers.
and you find the original Bible, and you realize that everything you read was right, but it was missing major
It
parts
got changed.
to the Bible. Yeah,
Right.
it got changed and stuff. That's probably what he's thinking. That's probably why he didn't come back, because he's so pissed off at everybody who told him what was the right way.
Right,
He
I mean,
found-
it's kind of like if you invest your whole life into religion,
Mhm.
and then one day, like, you see, I don't know, you see, like, your pastor doing one of the little boys or something in the back room, and you're just like, okay, I gotta just fucking get away from here, this is wrong, I don't want to be associated with it, and maybe he's got, see, what I see when I see Luke in these pictures,
I see
think-
Anakin bending over a youngling. No,
You would.
I'm just going by with your metaphor, bro.
No, maybe that was a little too
That
dark.
was kinda
That was
dark.
a little dark. I'm sorry.
That was like
Sorry,
Catholics.
peeps.
That's Catholics right now,
I ain't
bro.
Catholic, so don't bother me.
That's how fucking.
Catholics are fucked up.
Altar
Anyways,
boys are
before we
getting
before we lose that one listener we have out there,
That's Catholic.
that's Catholic, and now he's gone.
Fuck you guys! Steve.
I'm going to the dark side.
I'm drinking my pepper vodka.
What the fuck are they saying? Oh, but when I see Luke, man, I kind of see like we're gonna see like I think we're gonna get kind of a metamorphosis of Luke. I think we're gonna get in the beginning somebody very different than at the end of 8. I think he's gonna be somebody different.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I think
because
he's gonna
because
be
it
a
sounds
broken, depressed man.
Yeah.
that's what it kind of sounds like, and it's what sounds like. Ray has to like talk him into it. It's like, come on, Luke, let's go fight. Come on.
I think that's why his face expression was like when she handed him the lightsaber. He's like, "That's a lie. You don't need that."
Kinda, yeah,
Like-
I could see that.
Like
Like,
that's it's like you're buying into it too.
right, like, oh shit, Han talked to you.
Yeah. It's,
But yeah, I think you might be right because there was many different things I thought about that.
and maybe
expression,
this is a new fucking chapter to what really happened. You know.
And if that book is about the original Jedi or Jedi, they didn't have lightsabers,
no.
No.
and they used both sides of the Force.
Yeah.
And maybe Luke finds this like origin story.
Yeah, maybe the first real Jedi was somebody who got kicked out of the Jedi. Fucking,
And maybe they were much more, the Jedi that we know were like police. Let's be honest.
It's like religion, bro. You're going off and you got your own beliefs on everything.
Right.
And the one guy's pissed off about the original, and then it just
But maybe he's thinking like, I'm on this island, I'm not getting involved in this war because maybe he's read these scripts that are like thousands of years old about the Jedi, the original Jedi, who used both sides of the Force but did not fight.
mm-hmm.
They did not engage in conflict. Eventually they did because they split. If I'm right about that, I think I saw
That sounds right.
They ended up, because they used both sides of the Force, some of them fell to the dark side.
Or maybe the dark side was the right side.
Who knows, man? By the end of this trilogy, who knows? But they, from what I remember about the lore of it all, they ended up kind of like splitting up into different sects before they even called themselves Sith. And then they fought because they had to.
Yeah.
Like a civil war type thing. And it wasn't until the Sith didn't come in until a long time after that. So there were dark side users back then who were not Sith. And it kind of seems like that's where we're going with Star Wars. We're going back to the beginning.
How far back? Like Qui-Gon period? Or
No,
Way
before
before
like
Qui-Gon.
thousands of years before that.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe somebody fucking didn't like the way that they were treated, or something happened, and he went off and did his own thing, branched off into the dark side, or branched off into the real Jedis, and then the original Jedis were the dark side, or something.
Or maybe something
Like the Knights
happens.
of Templar or something.
Maybe something happens to Leia that triggers Luke.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Chewbacca raped her, I don't know.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. Can you imagine that fucking Wookiee dick, though? It's gotta be like... I'm not mad at you. You know what I mean, though, right?
He just
Like,
takes out
wow.
that steel and that.
It was me, Leia. It was me the whole time.
He's like, it's not rape, it was consensual.
It's consensual. It's not manslaughter. It's not murder. Holy shit. This just took a turn from bad to worse.
Wow.
Hey, bro.
Damn.
Oh, well.
But yeah, it's... man, episode 8 can't get here fast enough.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I mean, granted, that means we have to accept the snow and all that shit, but...
Yeah, I can deal with
Uh,
If it's giving me episode 8, I'll take whatever comes my way.
right. Except by then it might not be snow, it might be nuclear fallout.
Yeah, it might be concentration camp.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Movies might not exist anymore.
That would be some bullshit. The day before episode 8.
Trump shuts
comes out.
down the entire movie industry.
Oh my gosh, that would suck. I was like, okay, wartime. No, tomorrow's episode 8.
Right.
Mutiny in the streets over Star Wars.
Oh, dude.
We can't go to war yet!
Everybody's out in the streets with their like toy lightsabers. They're like
all the
marching.
nerds are pissed
They're
off.
marching on Washington.
Motherfucker, don't ruin this for us!
Dude, that's how I think that these wars should be settled, dude. If you take, say, example, Modern Warfare, the video game, okay? You get your best Modern Warfare players in China, or whoever we're against, and take our best in America, and whoever wins, wins. War's over. You're not killing nobody. You're just literally killing yourself in the game.
You know what? You've watched too many Royal Rumbles, you know that?
I'm just trying to...
Everybody get in the fucking ring. Whoever survives is the winner.
That's what I'm saying.
Whoever wins between the U.S. and China gets a shot at WrestleMania for some reason.
Ralph as president. Alright, I know how to settle this shit.
All right.
I'm gonna build a giant ring.
Duck, goose!
You each get a chair and a 2x4.
Alright, Putin, you're going up against Kim Jong-un. Winner of that takes on Donald Trump. Donald Trump, winner of that takes on fucking, I don't know. And just go at it, man.
I'm the
And then
greatest. I'm the
sit-
greatest. There's nobody like me. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest
Say-
wrestler that ever lived.
Well, he's
I'm
a Hall
gonna
of
be
Famer.
huge.
I'm gonna be huge. I'm really gonna show these guys how to wrestle. Wrestle.
Dude, that's the way to do it.
Nobody invented
I
wrestling
promise
before me.
you, you've never seen anything like
I invented wrestling.
it. Spectacular.
We'll build a big
That's
wall.
my Trump.
And, right.
And they're
Yeah, we suck
horrible.
at Trump over this, but...
It's a horrible but
Alright, so we want to transition into our Michigan predictions.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
We are all Michigan Wolverine fans.
So we're tentatively calling this the Michigan Minute or two.
Michigan.
Or 5, however long we decide to ramble on about this. But Michigan's first game is tomorrow at 3:30. They go up against number 17 Florida.
The way I look at it, with those jerseys, there's no way they can lose. even if they lose, they're gonna walk out being the sharper dressed team.
Yes,
Like,
they're
well, we
going to
won
be
a dress code.
That's right.
They-
Check these bitches
right.
out.
They're going to be wearing all maize for the first time since 1928.
Yeah.
Gonna look pretty.
Either Nike or Jordan brand jerseys as well. So
I thought it was Jordan.
I think it might be Jordan's.
Dude,
But they do have a contract with Nike though too,
Yeah,
so I don't
but
know
it's
how
got
that
the Jumpman
works.
on
But yeah,
it.
it's got the Jumpman on it.
That's all that
So
matters.
Yeah. I want one so bad. But I work at TA.
but I'm poor.
I don't see that happening.
They're at home tomorrow, right?
No, there's neutral site. It's going to be in Arlington, Texas.
Oh,
Arlington,
well, that's a
Texas.
good place.
Who the fuck plays in Arlington? Why Arlington? Is that Texas A&M?
Might be.
I'm just trying to wonder, like, what stadium they're going to be at.
Well, there ain't gonna be in Houston. There ain't much left of that.
It might be
state.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, it's not Houston. I know that.
And it's saying I don't think it's Texas.
Texas University is what the fuck? What is the capital of Texas?
Austin
Austin.
or San Antonio.
No, that would be Texas State. Would be in Austin. No, it is Austin.
We're Michigan fans. That's why we don't know.
Right. Anyway, they're playing somewhere in Texas.
So yeah, regardless, they're playing at a neutral site.
And for what it matters, Florida's wearing blue uniforms. Who gives a fuck?
Fuck Florida.
They're wearing
Florida.
alternate
Yeah,
uniforms.
Florida has suspended 10 players for I think marijuana. I think with some of them, and the other ones were inappropriate use of school funds or something like that. Like they used school funds to buy electronic shit or something.
What? Young black athletes smoking marijuana and stealing things?
Stay off the weed.
This is unprecedented.
It includes their star wide receiver and their star running back
Oh, shit.
Man.
among the people
We
suspended.
might blow them out of the fucking water.
So,
Are we sure the suspension starts this week?
Yes, they are. They are for sure suspended for this game.
That was stupid.
But that hasn't stopped Jim McElwain from talking a bunch of shit for about 2 weeks.
Sorry, let Jim Harbaugh.
That's right. That's all that does is feed our boys. Just make them hungrier and hungrier.
So, Wreck-It, what are you looking forward to? What do you have an eye on as far as...
I like Jim Harbaugh, dude. The coach. He's awesome.
Harbaugh.
I love Harbaugh. Dude. Bringing him in probably was the best thing that's ever... Well, one of the best things that's happened in my
Is there something specific you're looking forward to in the game? A player?
But...
What? I would say Jake Butt's not there
Jake
anymore
Butt.
unless
See, that's how much I paid attention to last.
God damn it, Ralph!
He just got drafted this past draft.
Yeah, he's with the Cowboys, I think.
Is
No,
he? Jake
Denver.
Butt?
He's with Denver. That's right.
Oh.
Taco Charlton is with Dallas.
Okay.
That's who is with Dallas.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to fucking having football season back. man.
Yeah,
me too. Hell
me
yeah.
too.
I know it's a good time of year.
I think college football is the longest
Yeah.
Feels
wait.
like it.
And you know what? They don't
Because
get paid shit.
Right,
man.
because it ends in what? Mid-January or early January, because
Yeah.
you figure the national championship's what, January 8th around there?
And
Was,
you got all the
was
bowls
this year.
and shit.
And then you gotta wait until September,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, and then it teases you throughout the year because you have like National Signing Day, so what players are they gonna get?
Yeah.
And then they have spring practice, and in Jim Harbaugh's case, they go overseas, they do team activities overseas, and you hear all this good shit about, this player is phenomenal and all this stuff, and just, come on, I just want you to play!
Right. I just want you to put that blue jersey on and let me see what you can do.
And I want you to kick everybody's ass and win a national championship.
You know, I've had this debate with numerous people throughout my life about college football versus pro football, and my son and I would kind of debate about this now because he's kind of like, I can't believe you like college football better than pro football, and I do, absolutely. I love the NFL, and it's a lot of fun to watch week to week, but college football, and this has always been the debate that I make, dude, I know it's corrupt, it's not quite as clean as it used to be, and I don't really fucking care about the marijuana use or any of that shit, but, you know, the Penn State crap, and there's been some shit that's gone on that wasn't there, or at least it was hid better, maybe, years ago, but mainly, dude, they are playing for the same reason you're playing in high school. Bragging rights.
They're playing for the
For
same reason
heart.
they're playing in your backyard. 'Cause they
Right.
love the game.
You want to win for the purpose of winning.
Mhm.
By the day they sign that fucking NFL contract, all innocence is gone.
Yeah.
Because even the purest athlete, dude, you're handing them a $30 million contract at a very young age, who most of those guys did not have good mentors growing up, good sound good sound mentors that, hey, don't fuck your life up if you ever make money, doing this, blah, blah, blah.
Unless you're Tom Brady, who came from
Michigan. Greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
But I love Tom Brady, dude.
I love Tom Brady. I don't even, I lived out on the East Coast, so I don't hate the Patriots, but I like the Patriots because of Brady.
Yeah, because of Brady, the Patriots are the most hated football team in the NFL.
He's a badass, though.
Brady, he comes back for the big games.
He's a badass.
He comes back for the big games at the big house. He even throwing the football at the gym.
I've seen a lot of quarterbacks in my day, and honestly, I think he's the best.
He is no comparison to even, I hate to say it, like the 90s and 80s. No Troy Aikman or Roger Staubach or any
No, he's the greatest of all time. There's no doubt now.
Right.
There's no doubt.
It's really hard for us to say, oh, he's definitely better than Bart Starr or Johnny Unitas, because we never saw him play. But
Right.
the stats, there's no comparison.
Oh, no, dude. I mean, that's like 20 years from now, someone's going to be better than Michael Jordan. To me. So no one will ever be better than Michael Jordan. And just like to maybe my dad's generation, no one will be better than fucking.
Maybe, I don't know, man. I mean, you can still look at Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
You can still look at Babe Ruth and go, fuck, he's probably the best of all time.
He's the best of all time because he's the first one to do it. Until someone beats that record.
But you know what? But Babe Ruth did it consistently, bro. He did it consistently for I don't know.
But in today's modern baseball, there's not going to be anybody that, you're not going to see. You're not going to see Mike Trout play all the positions on the field and pitch.
Yeah.
Strike out 10
and hit 50 homers every year.
50 home runs every year. You're just not going to see that anymore.
No.
That's
and I just don't know. I don't know if you'll ever have a guy that never loses in the playoffs.
In the
finals at all. Barely lost in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know if you'll ever have. You might have a guy.
The closest one to come to that everybody was talking about was LeBron James, and he will never do that because he's just different. Obviously, a lot of people talking about it's the different generations, the different eras, different rules.
Basketball has changed.
All that stuff, but it comes down to the person.
Yeah,
and it's LeBron. It's gotten to the point where it's more about his image.
Yeah.
Jordan played every single game unless he was hurt.
Yeah,
really hurt.
Still fucking played. He had a fucking flu hangover.
He had 105 fever in what was it, Game 5?
Game 5 against the.
It was against the Jazz, I want to say.
I believe it was Game 6.
Or was it Game 6? No, I thought they won Game 6. I thought Game 6 was the shot.
Wasn't that the game that he was?
That was a different year. That was 96. 96 was the flu. 98 was the shot, right?
I thought the shot that he made when he retired.
The push off of Byron Russell?
Yeah. Byron Russell, yeah.
I thought that was the flu game.
No. That was his last image as a Chicago Bull making a shot.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The flu game is when Scottie Pippen walked him off the court.
Right. He had 105, 106 fever, and he was just gassed. But he kept pushing. He went out there and he played. LeBron James, he sprains his toe. He's like, I'm not going to play.
Yeah, I'll make a good comparison. Again, I'll make this make even more sense to Babe Ruth. And I have said that before, because I've seen Jordan play one time. Thank you, Dad. Seriously, thank you, Dad, for taking me there, because it was awesome. And it's something I have, it's bragging rights, And, I mean, I've never met anyone that saw Babe Ruth play, but I've heard stories of old guys that did, to me, Jordan, there's a lot of things you could say about Jordan that made him so great. But to me, the greatest thing about Jordan was he elevated everyone around him.
Yeah.
And you look at the Yankees didn't just win championships because they had Babe Ruth. You know how many great players Babe Ruth played with? Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris,
Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig. He played with Mantle. He played with Maris. Yes, he did. He played with
that was in the 60s. That was the
50s.
That was for 62. 1962. He
played
for Joe. He played with Joe DiMaggio.
I'm sorry, you're right. Joe DiMaggio. In the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he played from the 20s, almost in the early 50s.
Yeah, 'cause he-
late
he
20s, early
died.
50s. Played for like 20 years or something.
Yeah, he played for the Red Sox and New York. And
But I mean, how many championships did they win with Babe Ruth? I don't know. I know they got like 26 or something. But
Yeah.
a lot.
But
of
he
championships.
was a big contribution to that.
And when Jordan came to the Bulls, they had nobody. You guys ever watch like Jordan's
it's
rookie
almost
year?
depressing watching that shit because you're expecting what you know about Jordan, and then they didn't win their first championship until Scotty got drafted.
You know, and not only that, but LeBron came out of high school.
Yeah,
Jordan went, what, 4 years?
North Carolina.
At college?
Everyone, oh yeah,
4 years at
three.
It was 3 years at college, and then he goes to the pros. LeBron jumps right out of high school,
Yeah.
and of course, this is obviously the changed rules and all that stuff out
Basketball
of that.
changed quite a bit.
Well, Kobe came out, Kevin Garnett came out, all out of high school.
I mean, I even give Kobe more credit than I do LeBron because Kobe made guys better around him too.
Dude, Kobe Bryant tried so fucking hard,
To
but
be
the
Jordan.
Lakers just kept fucking him over with the players they were giving him to work with.
But you got to think back to like Kobe's earlier days when they had Shaq and
Rick
Fox.
Fox, and Robert
I
Horry,
hated
Derek
Fox.
Fisher.
I hated Robert Horry. I hated the Lakers back then. so
They even
much.
had Grant Hill, or not Grant Hill, Horace Grant.
Horace
I'm sorry,
Grant,
Horace
yeah.
Grant, Ron Harper from the Bulls
Ron
too.
Harper. Yeah, I mean, he was surrounded by guys that were good players. I'm not saying Kobe made them, but they were still good players when Kobe was there.
But he did win the championship.
Now, to
without
me,
Shaq.
it seems like the only exception I think is Golden State for now. Seems like to me nowadays there's one star player and that's it. There's other guys that are good, maybe. But they don't really play together as a team. Not really. Golden State's kind of the exception, and maybe that's why they're
Jealousy is a big part. too.
Yeah, it
because
is.
look at Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. They were perfect together. Perfect on the court.
How many guys on the Bulls wanted to be Michael? They didn't want to be Michael. They
No.
didn't look at it like they looked at it like I can't be Michael. There's only one Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have this era where everybody wants to be the next Michael. LeBron thinks he's the next Michael, so he's not going to let anybody on his team think that way. And that's why him and Kyrie.
I think it was fucked up the way they treated Isaiah Thomas, too. He played 2 days after his sister died, and they still traded his ass. Dedication to that team, and they traded his ass.
Wow.
And they still wanted to get rid of him. The Cavaliers, like, well, give us something else. Because his hip was fucked up or something like that. And they were throwing anything at the Cavaliers just to get rid of Isaiah Thomas and get Kyrie Irving.
But anyway, I don't know how we got on Jordan. Because we were talking about Michigan football.
Michigan and all that stuff. But
Let's finish up our Michigan minute.
Yes.
We're gonna try and do this
Yeah.
every week. We record Fridays. Games are on Saturdays.
well, we try to record
We
Fridays.
try to record on Fridays.
Yeah. I'm just looking forward for football season to start again. dude.
Me too, man. Me too. I was telling Nate this morning. Have you seen the Michigan Wolverines commercial?
No, I haven't watched shit, really.
I saw it on Instagram, and it was badass. It was awesome.
You'll have to look it up.
Did you see it yet?
No, but I'll look it up later.
It said something about. I still kind of like what. It was on Instagram. It was a video. It was like the whole commercial, but the comment was, "Catch all the Wolverine games this year on Fox." And I was like, "What? Did we sign a contract? Remember how Notre Dame signed that contract years ago with NBC, where like every Notre Dame home game was going to be on NBC? It still might be that way. I don't know."
Yeah, I think it still is.
But yeah, the comment said every Wolverine game this year on Fox. And I was like, I fucking hope so, because I got Fox. That's one of the 4 channels I got. But, no, the fucking commercial was awesome, dude. It just starts out with, like, these dark, it's woods, and it's dark, and there's fog. And there it says, there's a narrator, and it says, do you know why a Wolverine will chew its leg off if it gets caught in a bear trap? And then you see this Michigan player, like, in full uniform, and he's running through the woods, like, hardcore. And it says, and then the narrator says, so it can, it chews its own leg off so it can keep coming at you ferociously to devour you, because that's all it knows. It's a hunter, and it's like going on, and like you see this guy dressed up in a Minnesota University, Gophers,
Yeah.
uniform, and he's running through the woods, and he's like looking behind him like, oh god, oh god. And the Wolverines guy is just like running full force behind him, and yeah, it's badass, dude. It's a really great commercial.
Yeah, dude.
And at the ending, it just shows in blue and yellow amazed letters. It says "Hail," and I'm like, "Oh fuck yeah, it's here finally!"
I think Michigan football is probably the best football
I
for
live.
college. I know a lot
I
of you get
live.
them diehard Texans and Oklahoma Sooners and everything, but
And
Michigan-
Alabama, Roll Tide.
Roll damn Tide. I think
We're the
Michigan-
best football program of all time.
Yeah.
we are.
We are. Yeah.
I still think our winning percentage.
I think we're still the winningest program.
Yeah, as far as winning percentage.
Yeah.
I think there's another team that might have more wins. I don't know, but we have the highest winning percentage. And if you go back,
I think we have the most wins though too.
Do we?
I think we do. Yeah.
If you go back and read some of the history, man, or like the old teams, dude, we had some fucking epic teams. I have no idea when this team was, but it was the Leatherhead days.
Probably under Yost or something.
Yeah, it was from a long time ago.
Fielding Yost or something.
There was one team we had, dude, that went undefeated, won the national championship. At the Rose Bowl, we played, I think it was USC. Not really sure. Maybe it was Cal. But we played a Pac-10 team for the championship, and we beat them. It was like 144 to 6.
Yeah.
And
That sounds like a Fielding Yost team.
Yeah, and their average that year, like they beat teams on average by 70 points. What? Like 5 or 6 times they scored over 70 points in a game, in like a 12-game season. Just a team that just like you don't see that kind of stats anymore.
No.
Totally different kind of football, of course, back then. I don't even know if they did forward passes back then.
I don't think so.
But yeah, dude, we're the greatest football program of all time. We have the best helmets. I don't care what anybody says.
The
Yeah.
best colors.
But I love the Michigan colors very much. I mean, I grew up surrounded by Notre Dame fans.
I did too, and I was the only Michigan.
Me
fan,
too,
dude.
bro. I
I
was a
swear to
Michigan
God.
fan, and I did not convert. And I had many of my friends going, "Come on, man, you should be a fighting Irish fan."
I became a Michigan fan of the program when the Fab Five came for basketball.
Yes,
And then
yeah.
after that, then I just started watching football and basketball more Michigan. That's what I'm.
For
I'm
me,
Michigan.
it was that receiver, not Howard, not Desmond Howard, but he wore number 1. He went on into Chris Carter. He went on to play in the NFL for the Vikings.
Yeah, it was Chris Carter.
Was a great wide receiver in the NFL. Hated him in the NFL because he tore the Bears up.
Yeah.
But he was a Michigan player, and he wore number 1, with the prestigious number 1. And that was like the year I started following him. We're talking like 80s, mid-80s or something.
I'm going to say that sounds about right.
And like I said, everybody I knew, my family, they all liked the Irish. And I took so much shit as a little kid. Why do you like Michigan? Hey, I just like them. Leave me alone. I didn't know much about the program. I live in Michigan. They're a badass team.
I just hate Notre fucking Dame.
I
dude.
hate Notre Dame.
I got
too.
the sign at home that says my 2 favorite teams is Michigan and anybody who beats Notre Dame.
Yeah. And, you know, when I was a kid, we trounced Ohio State every year.
I hate Ohio.
Now, it's not the same. It's not quite the same anymore. And so I guess, like, my hatred...
Not yet.
Right. Our time is
Yeah.
coming back.
This year.
That's right.
We got it.
My hatred of Ohio State has grown through the years. That's the way I'll put it.
I just hate the state of Cleveland or the state of Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio
I
sucks.
just hate Ohio.
I used to have a shirt. You saw it. It said Michigan. It had a picture of the state on it, and it said, "At least we're not Ohio."
Yeah. I hate Ohio. I don't know.
That's pretty much how I feel about both of those states. Okay,
So predictions.
predictions.
Score?
Ralphie?
We'll say 21 to 14. No, 21 to 17 Michigan.
Close game.
Close game, okay.
First game.
I threw mine out there earlier. 38-24 Michigan. I think it's going to be a big first half. Kind of maybe 21-21 at the half or something.
And I predict 41-14 Michigan.
Damn, you guys are highballers.
Dude, I'm thinking
You might be
Harbaugh
right
is
with those
having
suspensions.
them
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Michigan talking Harbaugh talking Michigan up for the past couple of weeks about how much shit that Florida's been talking. I think they're just going to come out gangbusters.
I think they're going to be fired up too. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent on that Florida team because they're another team that recruits
They
like
use Michigan
crazy.
football too. They're high numbers.
So yeah,
They'll slump. I think they'll slump in the first quarter. Second quarter, they'll start firing on all cylinders.
I might be at your house to watch it tomorrow. Dude, if you're gonna be at home,
I might be. I don't know.
you don't know where you're gonna watch it.
Well, I'm gonna watch it, but I don't know if I'll be home.
Let me know.
But I'll figure something out.
Because I don't know if I can get ABC. Damn it.
Dun,
First
dun,
game's on ABC.
Yep.
And if that commercial is right, the rest of them are on Fox. But that's our Michigan Minute. You'll get more of that every week till the season's over.
Till the season's over and we win a national championship.
That's right. And then we'll brag the rest of the podcast about how badass we are.
Right. And that will close out this episode of the Nerd Eye Council.
Next week.
Yes, next week.
Next week. What do you guys want to do next week?
I don't know. I'm hoping I'm here next week. My fucking job.
All right. So depending on the schedule, what record Ralph is working,
The Emperor lets me go home.
and depending on what we're doing or whatever, I think we will finally get into conspiracy theories.
Fuckers! Really? You know I gotta work next week.
No. Hey,
Not necessarily.
If we have to do it Saturday,
No, it's fine.
if we have to do it Saturday, we'll do it
The
Saturday.
moon landing was a Hulk.
No,
All
dude.
that shit, it's fine.
We're not going to do a conspiracy podcast without
Yeah,
it.
we're-
rocking out.
Yeah, we're not going to do one
No,
without
I'm
you.
just playing. I don't give a shit.
So tentatively,
So
we'll
tentatively.
we'll try to pull that off next week.
Conspiracies. Let's do it.
All right. So until next week, guys.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace.
Yeah, see ya.
Peace.